Good morning, everybody. Welcome in on a Monday. Sounds weird already in my earphones.
Crap, we forgot to tell them.
What
That's right,
happened?
we did.
Oh, they did something
Yeah,
to the
they changed
mics.
something.
They
and
did.
We talked about it on Thursday morning. How
Sounds odd.
they are so lucky that you aren't here.
Yeah.
Because you would not stop talking about it
Correct.
if you had been there on Thursday.
I didn't
morning.
know.
But we just moved along and like nothing was changed.
What happened?
You would have.
They changed
not
all the
been okay on
processing and everything
Thursday.
on the microphones and warned us it's going to sound weird to you.
Just so you know,
Yeah,
it sounds totally fine over the air. On the other side, everyone here listening to us, they don't notice it. But in studio and your headphones, it's gonna sound a little weird. We said, "Man, you guys are lucky." Woods
For a while, or is this forever? This is how it's going to sound.
Tuning it.
They're fine tuning it, but it's probably going to sound. It's
Okay.
going to be different for you.
Listen,
So.
What we've overcome this season, this is nothing. I mean, this is absolute. This is a drop in the bucket, a grain of sand on the beach. Hey, engineers, great job. Sounds fantastic. Sounds different, but it sounds fantastic. And I will certainly adapt and get used to it. That's the new me, signing a fresh, juicy 3-year deal. Happy to be here, part of the Odyssey family, the Ben and Woods family. And it's just great to be back with you guys, the Tier 1s. And I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, is also here. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Good to have the whole radio family back together again for the first time since last Wednesday.
Yeah.
How was your vacation? Your trip up to Laguna?
We don't have to talk about
good, huh?
It's not a vacation, as I've reminded you. It's a trip. When
That's
you
true.
take your small children, it is not a vacation. In fact, it's less of a vacation. It's less than a vacation than sleeping in the drunk tank for a weekend. That is a more peaceful, better use of time. Sleeping in the drunk tank, getting thrown in jail on a Friday night and walking out of there Sunday afternoon.
No one expects anything of you when you're in jail.
Right. It's quieter. The inmates sleep a little better in jail than they did on this trip. It doesn't cost. It costs you some money. You know, if you get tossed into the drunk tank, you're gonna have to pay something. You got arrested for something, public intox, something. $500 max. Yeah, way more than that for this trip. So we don't have to talk about. I'll just say this: I love my family very much, and I look forward to the next family trip when the kids are 12 and 15. That will be now. There will be trip like Bo and I have a trip in September. We're doing together.
Tell the kids, I hope you enjoyed your vacation.
This is it.
It's the last one for 10 years.
This is it. Taylor, that little SOB, was so funny and cute in here. And
He was.
Both the boys were so good in here on Wednesday when they were here. Such a fun segment. I got so much good feedback about it. People DMing me about, man, that's just the best. Okay, great. Well, you think this is going to be a great weekend, and then you get there, and the place that we stayed, the Montage, is unbelievable. They took such good care of us. You feel like with the royal family when you walk in.
I've never stayed there.
It's unreal.
But it even sounds fancy.
Montage.
Montage.
And by the way, one of the gals that works there is a Tier 1. She listens every day. She lives in Carlsbad, Mallory. And when we walked in our room, she had made a Padres sign for the boys. She knew Bo and Taylor's. I mean, I honestly, I felt like Prince Harry or something. It was crazy. And so you think, man, we're off to a good start. Then Taylor decides to suck down a bunch of jelly beans that they also left in the room.
Oh, no.
And that dude, he didn't sleep the whole first night. He was up out of bed, dead out of water. I want water. It was like, I'm like, it's 3 a.m. I think at one point I picked him up and spiked him down on the bed like a football. It was horrendous. It was horrific. We didn't sleep a wink. And then the next day was, everyone's on edge. Everyone hadn't slept. And it was just a lot, man. It was a lot. And, but I love them dearly. And it was maybe one day I'll be able to look back fondly on that trip, but it won't be today. Today will not be the day I look back fondly on that trip. I want to wish my mom a very happy birthday. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Marsha Woods.
I would also like to wish Marsha Woods a happy birthday, and to
birthday, Mom.
To JWW in the YouTube chat, happy 30th anniversary.
Oh,
today.
Good for you, man. Or woman, don't know. JWW.
I think he says the wife is sleeping right now.
Oh,
so
that's good.
Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah.
Awake and asleep.
But man, the real highlight for me of my time away was on Saturday. I took both boys down to the fire station down. And I just want to get the one right. It's San Miguel Fire Station number 16 in Spring Valley. So a bit of a hike from where we live. But guy I used to play baseball with, Jeff Shin, is the captain of the firehouse. And he said, dude, if your boys are into firemen and firehouse, bring them down. I'll take care of them. And I said, consider it done. So it was one of those days we had a lot of time to kill. And I said, get up. We're going to be down there. We got down there at 9 a.m. You have a question?
Yeah, well, I've got lots of questions already, but I'll hold.
All right. So we drive down to Spring Valley and walk in, and there's 3 guys there, Jeff, a couple of his buddies that work there. And, bro, they took Taylor and Bo by the hand, showed them the whole thing. The pure joy and elation that those kids had. They let them shoot the hose with the water. It was incredible. Like, we're starting, and they're holding like the real hose and the spigot and all that, and they're spraying a cone. They got to sit in the front seat. They got to ride around the block. Like, it was incredible. And started talking to them a little bit about their gig and what they do. And we can't complain. No one in here gets to complain anymore. Oh, I'm tired. I'm this, I'm that. Those are real men. They do real man jobs. This is a joke. At the end of the day, after talking to those guys about what they do, this is kids play. This is child's play.
Do they still have the pole?
They did not have a pole.
They don't have a pole. Now, maybe that's just an old school when you had like 2-story fire stations.
Now it's a one level.
Move out quickly. You needed a pole. Yeah, if you have one level, you don't need a pole, I would guess.
Yeah, I think, the funny thing is I can run downstairs as fast as I can go down a pole. You know what I mean? Like, I always thought that was
how much time did that really save, though?
Like sliding down the pole. I mean, it'd be awesome. And I would never take the stairs. If there was a pole to get down to my car here, 6 floors, I would take the pole every day.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It wouldn't even be particularly close. It would be so fun.
Pole, that would be terrifying.
But I'm telling you guys.
Got my backpack, my computer.
Yeah, my water bottle clinging against the pole on the slide down. But they were so kind. And they showed him the ropes. They let him put on the backpack that had the oxygen masks and the oxygen tank in it. You see my kids' faces there. I mean, it's ear to ear. Like they were just so happy. They're so enamored with firefighters.
Did they have the where the firefighters would like cook for the crew
the
sort of thing, the kitchen and everything?
Their bedrooms and everything else. Now they work 24 hours on. 24.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, I'm not complaining about working 4 hours anymore. I'm just not. I can't. And by the way, somebody's house might be burning down and they might have to go save a life or pull somebody out of a fire. All right, I'm not going to complain about doing sports. I'm out of content. We'll figure it out, dude. Somebody's pulling some dead body out of a fire. But the worst part, you guys, this blew my mind. So they let me sit in the front. They let me sit in the front too. So I'm sitting in the front and there's the board.
Did you get to, like,
honk the horn. Oh, yeah. The
good.
sirens, the horn, everything. So we're sitting in the front, and there's this like computer screen, and it's got all the calls that come in through the dispatch that gets sent to them, and they have to go answer these calls. And I go,
let's go to Kevin in Chula Vista.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, he would be a guy that would call for some of the things I'm about to tell you. Do you guys realize? I didn't know this. Do you guys realize people call firefighters because, like, their back hurts? I'm not kidding. Toothache on here. One said toothache. One said forgot to take meds. They're called.
Do they get to just transfer them to the right department,
No,
or do they have to?
They have to go out to
like
these
if the
calls.
fire department gets a call, they have to
go. Which I feel is a bit of a waste of taxpayers'
you think?
Resources.
Also, time,
time,
massively important time.
Imagine if there's a massive fire and you're because some old guy's like, my back hurts. They're like, yeah, whose doesn't? Suck it up, get back in your bed or do whatever, have some Tylenol, be on your day. Now those are the calls, you guys, of the probably the elderly, the lonely, whatever. He goes, they'll call us sometimes and be like, hey man, I can't sleep. And they're like, okay, what do you want us to do? Like, they can't sleep. Now, then you get
firefighter lullaby time.
Yeah, right. Then you get the other calls. And the other calls are what made my chin hit my chest. I'll give you a couple of examples. One guy out there was been up for a couple of days. And he had a Gatorade bottle. Gatorade bottle has a hole in it.
I know where this is
okay.
going.
Yeah, he put his
Oh no.
right into the thing and couldn't get it off as it swelled. And I said, "You're joking." And they said, "Oh no." And I said, "Was he using it to was he going to the bathroom or was he using it for the other?" And they said, "Oh no, he was using it for the other."
Oh my God.
Right. And so he put it in there, got stuck. Not only did it get stuck, it swelled to the entire size of the bottle.
Oh my
2 days.
God.
He had it in there. 2 days.
Oh my God.
Huh? And I go, that would be the call that I'd be like, guys, I got something in my throat. I got to run. They have to do it. They have to do it. They have to take care of that person who's been on meth for 2 days with his wiener stuck in a hole of a Gatorade bottle because he looked at it and went, yeah, I can do that. And there's another one. There was another person that was on drugs and liked to choke himself and had rigged some contraption with a belt and a crutch to hold him up. And his mom walked in and found him like that with it in his hand and the whole bit. So they show up on a Sunday afternoon, football probably on the TV, nice fall day. And there's a guy hanging from his contraption, passed out because he needed to take care of business. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'm never going to complain about work again. Never. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do my 4 hours, and I'm going to thank God for it. That I don't have to. I mean, we get calls. We get weird calls. People are weird and stuff, but I don't have to go to their home.
There's a whole cable television show called Sex Sent Me to the ER.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a thing that you can watch on television.
Yep. I think, and I don't know how many of that is.
I assume some of those started with a call to firefighters to begin the process.
Yeah, could be.
Fun.
Yeah, but
I mean, you think the worst part of the job is the whole fighting of the fires, which I'm sure is very bad.
That's the one where I think they're like,
but at least God. The fire, you're not that judgmental. Like when you
go, yeah, you're like, somebody started a fire. We got to get this thing out, save some lives, save some pets. Well, then the last one, he goes, yeah, there's a guy a couple weeks ago. He was on meth and he was running around and he was naked. He was running around. He had a plug.
Oh,
yep. Mm-hmm. Just a plug. And so they had to calm him down and get that out. And I just, you never know what you're going to get. It's truly a box of chocolates when you're a firefighter.
Jenny, you never know what you're going to get.
They get the calls that lead to those x-rays that you see.
Yeah, I have no idea how it got
How did a Hot Wheel get up there?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Those guys are heroes. They're fantastic. I thank you. I salute you. All of you responders
Mike
out there.
In the chat says, a firefighter saved my life. True story. I was 4, drowned in a pool. Firefighter pulled me out, saved my life with CPR.
They are unbelievable.
They are heroes.
They showed us the CPR doll. Dude, I mean, I'm never complaining again. Like, they were just amazing. They were just amazing. It was so, so cool. And my boys were so happy to get to have that access in there, and they just were blown away. So
speaking of amazing and cool, we will be talking about.
Did you just
San
do
Diego
a not joke?
San Diego Padres this weekend.
This dress is not black.
I need to transition somehow to the content, the majority of the content of this show. Padres dropped 2 of 3 to the Arizona Diamondbacks over the weekend. Honestly, I'm okay with Saturday's loss, but you got to win yesterday. You have to win that Sunday game. There's not a lot of hope left here. No. Correct, people?
I think it's over, man.
Now the real issue going forward is how do you evaluate what went wrong this season? And how do you figure it out?
When do you start? When does that evaluation process? I feel like if we do it now, it's going to be an even longer off season than it already is going to be. You know what I mean? Like, we've been in here trying to diagnose what's gone wrong. No one knows. No one knows. No one's been able to put their finger on it. But I've got a lot of theories. I've got my own. I've got some theories too.
Absolutely. Yeah. We will talk all about it. We'll have Sam Levitt joining us a little bit later. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Usually We've got the Cespedes Family Barbecue guys. They had a wedding yesterday.
Yeah, Jordan got
Jordan's
married. Congrats,
wedding.
man.
So they are traveling today, but Jake will join us tomorrow at some point. We'll keep you updated there. Otherwise, it's Monday. We're all back together. We got great firefighter stories and more. Glad to have you with us for a new week. Daily Ditty is coming up next. Paulie, you get the theme this week. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. All right, we'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic. See how Kelly and the roads are doing right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I know it, but I can't pronounce it, and I need an official pronunciation. I've heard 45 different ways to pronounce it.
It's Feel the Thunder.
By?
Oh, I don't know.
By
Corey Haim.
It's spelled the same.
Yes.
But I think it's Chaim.
Haim.
Is it Haim? Are you sure?
No. No, I'm not.
That sounds Hebrew. Chaim.
I don't think anybody knows.
I don't know if they know.
I don't know if they know the name of their own band.
I'm
Haim.
Chaim.
Yeah, this is Haim. They
Haim.
are 3 sisters.
Yep.
From the LA area. And I saw they opened for Taylor Swift a week and a half ago. I saw them. And so the theme is bands or artists you thought you didn't like.
Right.
I had never really listened
The old
to Haim.
Preconceived notion.
I just knew.
Yeah.
And I'm not alone. My wife felt the same way. One of my buddies was like, oh, yeah, they suck. I go and see them.
Never heard them.
They opened at SoFi. I go, these chicks shredded.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They are so talented. I've been listening to them for like a week now. And I'm like, they are so good. I go, what the hell is everyone talking about?
I saw somebody tweet like, oh, I get it now. I get the whole
I think it was
Chaim.
Megan.
Was it Megan? Yeah. Chaim
I
thing.
get the whole,
Haim.
dude, they
Chaim.
rocked. They were
Chaim.
super fun to watch. Very talented.
I would love to know how you say the name of that band for accuracy's sake.
Well, if they're from LA, maybe they are listening right now.
They
One
could
of them
be.
could call in and let us know.
Wanting to hear what's going on with their beloved San Diego Padres. And I got some tweets over the weekend. Luckily, yesterday I was playing baseball, so I didn't get to watch that game. I did catch some highlights and obviously read the game log and saw some things on Twitter. And that's, here we go. They're dead and buried again. Somebody said you need to go scorched earth on them tomorrow. And I thought to myself, why? What is the point right now of going scorched earth on this team? I mean, we've been doing it. And that's the other thing as well. Some guy tweeted, well, I'll be waiting for the day you guys finally rip this team. And those are the ones where I'm like, you don't listen. If you think we've been, turd polishing this team all year, there's some turd polishing going on early in the season by me. Absolutely. Because, there was time. And you think, at some point they will gel. This turd is beyond polish. There is no polishing of this turd.
I mean, I know you were on a trip on Thursday, but
watched
Paulie,
every second of that game.
You can vouch that I went pretty hard in.
I was
ready on
Thursday.
I was ready
on
to
the
fight
team.
you on Thursday because watching that crap on Wednesday night in Seattle, I thought I can't do it. I can't do Ben's. Well, he's actually a pretty good pitcher. He's one of the better AA pitchers, and
I watched every
unlucky hits.
Watched every pitch.
Ben was pissed on Thursday.
Watched every pitch in my hotel room of Thursday night's game, and was incensed. And then the tweets started coming out that the Padres AA team had beat this kid the week before. The Missions, they had beaten him.
Yeah,
the AA team beat the same guy that just shoved it up your tail.
I was mad too.
If that's not enough to make you go, maybe I should go do something else for a little, I would be so mortified. And I get, that's baseball. No, that kid, there was nothing special about that dude. Nothing. And that was one where you look at and go, you guys are.
He's the definition of a guy.
He's the definition of mid. He got beat by your AA team the week before.
So the last 4 games, going back Sunday, Saturday, Friday, and actually Wednesday. They were off Thursday.
Yeah.
That was Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
The last 4 games, if you take them as a whole, really encompass the entire season. There was a game in which the Padres lost to a pitcher that they had no business losing to, a rookie that, shouldn't be able to beat a team like the Padres. Then they score 10 runs and absolutely pile on and, come up with a big victory that makes them look like they're going to be good. Then they have a lifeless game in which they score 0 against, yes, a tough pitcher, but how do you never get going at all? And then you have a game in which the bullpen blows a 3-run lead and you can't hold on. I mean, those are pretty much the 4 kinds of Padres games. Big win, offense mysteriously disappears against a bad pitcher, offense looks lifeless against a good pitcher, or you have an early lead, but you can't hold it and you lose the game in the end. Aren't those the four kinds of games
So
we have
I'm
this year?
giving it Craig Elston. Actually, I talked to Craig on the phone yesterday. Craig was beside himself, and I was too. I was in the grocery store on my way home from playing ball. And he goes, if somebody moved back, and this is full credit to Craig Elston, and you guys are on the same page here, Ben. He goes, if a guy comes back, Woodsy, I just came out of a coma. I saw the Padres record. What the hell happened? I thought you were all hyped on this team. And I'll say I was. And he goes, well, obviously, I'm not going to go back and watch every single game. What do you recommend? I'd say, oh, that's easy. Watch Friday night, where they look like a juggernaut, World Series, best friends, spectacular defense, clutch hitting, power, speed.
Xander Bogaerts, $280 million. That's
worth every penny.
Yep.
And then watch Saturday, where, again, look, Zach Gallen was fine. He was throwing 2-0 cookies, and our guys were like, nope, don't want that. He was fine. But that bullpen, the much maligned bullpen, you get shut out. You get shut out. I said, and then watch Sunday, because Sunday's the day that really gets you. The lifeless games hurt, but Sundays are the games where you really get
those
got.
are the pivotal losses.
Yep, those are the pivotal losses.
I added it to the list of agonizing, excruciating defeats, which is now over 20 this season. Those are, like, in the first inning, I thought, oh, this is going to be one of those. They look like world beaters games. They're going to score 12 runs today. They got 3 in the first.
No, but the fact that they got 3 in the first, for them, they go, ooh, Cadillac time. And it's just cruise control until the bullpen blows it. Those 3 games, I'll just take the weekend games. And this is all Craig Elston. He goes, that's the Padres season in a nutshell. And they came away 1-2. And I go, dude, you're absolutely right. That's all you need to watch. You don't need to go back to what happened in Cincinnati. You don't need to go back to what happened against Texas. That's not the real Padres. The Padres that swept the Texas Rangers, that's not the real Padres. They were without Corey Seager. They were a bit depleted. This is the San Diego Padres of 2023. This 3-game set. So good take by you, Ben. Good take by Craig. But, yeah, as far as going ballistic on these guys, I mean, I'll scream and yell till the cows come home. There is nothing. It will not help. They know they suck. They're playing like they suck. They're talking about how they suck. The thing that gets me are the rumors that start to come out when the other teams talking. I'm sure you guys saw David Peralta's comments this weekend. We all know who David Peralta's talking about, and I'll get to those if you haven't. Get to those next. Have you seen these?
I have not, so I'm intrigued.
It's tough, dude. It's tough. So
Juan Soto walking back his comments.
Yep.
That you weren't even here to discuss Juan Soto's comments that have now been walked back by Juan Soto. We'll get into all that as well. Our Padres wrap-up of, exactly, yesterday, get up 3-0, and then shut her down, everybody. We will go through yet another 1-run loss for your San Diego Padres yesterday. Coming up with Ben and Woods. Stick around on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson Raid. Padres are back home tonight. We're going to be giving away some Padres tickets later on the show today.
Sorry.
3-game series against the Baltimore Orioles. The opposite, as it were, of the San Diego Padres this season.
Fun, exciting.
The team that has taken every opportunity to win close games, to make the most of their record, their run output, what they've done. They have made the most of it. They are 27 games above 500.
My God.
Yet essentially have scored and given up the same number of runs as the Padres this year.
Yeah.
So
there's a lemon, and they have squoze every drop.
I don't know what
have.
their magic sauce has been this season.
Crab cakes.
But whatever it is, that's what the Padres are missing. It's what the Baltimore Orioles have this year. And we will get to see it firsthand the next 3 days at Petco Park.
Ooh, boy,
I can't wait.
Yes.
Super
I am excited as I am a partial baseball fan, but I'm also a baseball fan. I'm excited to see these guys play. I'm excited to see Cedric Mullins.
The crazy thing is, every single matchup, the Padres starter has a better ERA than the equivalent for the Baltimore Orioles in this series. Theoretically, Padres could be favored in every game. Does anyone expect a sweep by your San Diego Padres over the team with the best record in the American League?
No, but I do.
But then again, we didn't expect a sweep over the Texas Rangers a couple of weeks ago either. So
I do expect another good win, a good solid win by 5 or 6, another complete meltdown by the bullpen. That's almost guarantee every 3 games with this team now. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see a languid, weak rollover game. You get shut out, maybe score 1 run late. So I'm looking for more of the same this week. Now, because baseball, and I said it because I put it out there, they'll sweep the Orioles. And now we'll be in here Wednesday and being like, oh my God, this team. I mean, look, they're right back in it, and this team lost and that team lost. Honestly, though, I think that with the losses this weekend, I've been as close to taking off the spikes and hanging them up on the door jamb. You know what I mean? For this team, the metaphorical, I'm throwing it in. This today is as close as I've been. Now I know they're not mathematically eliminated. Not even really close to being mathematically eliminated yet.
We still got a while.
Still got a while till that day comes. But I look at this team and I go, no, this is deeper than baseball. There's something deeper going on than baseball. And, a little insight to that, Ben, maybe came over the weekend. Bob Nightingale wrote a piece. Now, again, it's Bob Nightingale. That being said, these are direct quotes. So this isn't Bob's opinion. These are direct quotes from Padre killer and current LA Dodger David Peralta. Says this, quote, let me tell you something. I was on the other side for a long time playing against this team. I was always wondering, man, the way they go
playing against the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yeah. Okay. The way they go about their business, how they do it, why are they so successful? Why do they do everything so good? The moment I walked into the clubhouse in spring training, you feel comfortable. You start tapping into the culture and everything here. There's no selfishness. Everyone's together. There's so much energy. It's about how are we going to work as a team to win. You hear stories on other teams with all of the talent in the world, but they have a lot of egos. They don't like each other. And you can see it by the way they play. If that's not the biggest indictment on the San Diego Padres, I don't know what is. Hey, and again, this isn't the media spinning a narrative. This isn't Ben and Woods trying to start S with the team that we love. Dude, that's from another player who, by the way, was just here and saw it with his own eyes. It gets out of clubhouses. They hear about it. We've been hearing about it all year. We ask people that work there. They go, dude, everything's fine here. Everything's fine here.
Is there a bit of hypocrisy coming from us, though, being critical when for a long time, and you're part of this as well, we liked the ego. I'm Manny effing Machado.
I still do.
I like that. I want my ball players to have that swagger and confidence when they go in there.
But you can absolutely have that as an individual and still be a good team player, right? I watched different sports entirely, different era, but we know Winning Time's on, right? So we've all been watching Winning Time on HBO. It's really great. There was another thing that popped up on HBO Max, or Max as it's called now, and it just said Jordan versus Bird, or Bird versus Magic, or Magic versus Bird, whatever. And I go, all right, cool. The real behind the scenes interviews with these guys, and they showed some old highlights. I watched it. You know what both of those dudes did? You know all they cared about? Winning. That's it. That's all they wanted to do. They were so focused on just winning basketball. Did Magic Johnson like to be Magic Johnson? Yeah, he did. Did Larry Bird like to be Larry Bird? You're damn right. They worked their asses off, but all they cared about at the end was winning. They both dished. They both weren't out there scoring 45 points a game. They dished. They did what they had to do. They pulled down boards. They fought guys if they had to fight guys. I watched it. I went, man, I just learned more about winning than I've seen from our San Diego Padres all season long from a 10-year-old documentary about the, two of the biggest superstars in the game. I think, Ben, I like the ego. I like the swag. I like the way they play baseball. I do. I love it. But you can have that. Look at football.
The other part is what makes like a good team suppress their egos. For instance, the Dodgers have almost the fewest sacrifices of the season in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Padres are in the top 7. They do more sacrifices, move guys over, sacrifice their own opportunity to a home run than the Dodgers do by a wide margin. Does that make the Padres a more selfless team, or are the Dodgers being the ego guys because they're not doing
they're
that?
Just smarter. It's smarter baseball in the year 2023. It's just
I
smarter baseball.
I agree with that as well.
I mean, so you're telling me we're the 7th? Because to hear people talk about, we've never laid a sack bunt down, we've never moved runners over. I mean, that to me doesn't mean you're selfish or here's what I do know. I don't know how the Dodgers do their business. I do know this, and I'm not going to pick on this guy. But it should have been a telling sign when Xander Bogaerts sat down before he'd even played a game with us in spring training and said, yeah, I mean, I'll hit anywhere, but I don't like to hit 2 because I don't get my numbers at 2. But like, you just got your numbers. Your numbers were 280, 380, 280.
I can go back and pull the quote. I thought the quote was actually the opposite. He doesn't like to hit second, but he said he actually gets good numbers.
Oh, he gets good numbers.
Yeah. I don't want to make it sound like.
Yeah, right. That's it. That's right.
I want to be fair.
No, it's fair. But even to say that is weird to me before you've put the uniform on, to not be like, bro, wherever they need me to play, I'm ready to play. And it's not just him. Manny wants his numbers, and all these guys want their numbers. I think that the focus is on the wrong number, though. The focus is on getting to wins, and it sounds like that's what the Dodgers do. It sounds like that's what their culture promotes. And I don't know, man. It's a really sticky scene right now with the Padres, and rumors coming out. Bob's on his way out. This and that and the other. Another Bob Nightingale piece. Again, I don't know how much I read into it, but when you're stacking up L's like this and stacking up a season like this, it doesn't look good. It doesn't bode well.
We will come back and talk about yet another W that turned into an L yesterday in Arizona. We got our Padres wrap-up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Couple trouble spots here. one of them is a collision involving a couple vehicles on westbound 905 at Siempre Viva. They're over the right shoulder. Including reports of a possible encampment fire south 163 People Park Boulevard over to the right shoulder. And Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy live from the Crapper again.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Oh, God, here we go.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
Runner on second, nobody out for Fernando Tatis Jr. Swings to the first pitch, loops it into shallow center field, out of the reach of Marte. Him rounding third on his way. Thomas's throw is cut off. Throw to second by Walker, not in time. Padres take a 1-0 lead, 2 batters into the game as Tatis hustled into second base and gets himself back in scoring position on a bloop into shallow center field. And Manny hits a laser over the head of the third baseman Peterson and down the left field line for extra bases. Tatis is jogging home. Manny cruising into second. Already a couple of doubles in the first inning for the Padres, and they now lead 2-0. Runner on second, 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Cronenworth and a ground ball to the right of the mound. Long way to go. Marte dives, and he can't get there. It's into center. Manny's going to score easily from second base. Jake Cronenworth, an RBI single, and a 3-0 Padre lead in the first. 1-1 on the ground to the right side again. Fair ball again. Diving stop by Cooper, but all he can do is knock it down. An infield single for Ketel Marte, and the first run of the day for the Diamondbacks. It's 3-1. This one bounces in, kicks away from Sanchez. Herrera takes off the throw and the tag. They got him. Gary Sanchez tracked down a ball that had rolled almost halfway to the Padre dugout. Could have been a wild pitch. Threw down to second base. Herrera is out, and now we just wait to see if the Diamondbacks will challenge it, and they will not. 1-2 on Perdomo now. And he sends it in the air to deep right field. Fernando backing up at the wall. This one gonna go. Home run, Geraldo Perdomo. And now how huge is that play made by Sanchez and Kim a moment ago. 3-2 Padres in the fifth. And the pitch to Cronenworth. Hit on the ground. Fair up the third baseline into left field. Manny rounding third. He's going to score. Bogarts will be held. Cronenworth in his second with an RBI double. Padres finally add on, and they lead 4-2. Here's the 3-2 from Nick Martinez, and Gurriel hits it in the air to left field. Soto's backing up. He's at the wall, leaps up, gonna go. 2-run pinch hit, home run. And Gurriel has tied the game at 4 here in the 7th. Thomas swings, lines it into center field. Grisham over and in, reaches out to make the catch. Walker tagging from third, he'll score, but a great play by Grisham. Now the Diamondbacks take the lead. They're ahead for the first time. But I tell you what, if Trent doesn't get there, it's at least 2, maybe 3. Here's the pitch, and Sanchez swings and misses, strike 3. It was a fastball, and the Diamondbacks hold on and come from behind as they win this game 5-4. They win the series, and the Padres wrap this road trip to Seattle and Arizona with a 1-4 record.
You know what, if I had an answer for it, I'd tell you. You know, we just have to be better about, stepping on the gas pedal and continuing as the game goes along. That's as tough a loss. We've had some tough losses this year, but this is probably as tough a loss as we've had based on where we are, who we're playing, and whatever game means right now.
Sucks.
That's saying something when even Bob Melvin says that's as tough of a loss as we've had all season long.
We say that once, twice, thrice.
I've said it, once at least every week or so all season long.
I tweeted yesterday. You guys probably, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but it has just been a massively unenjoyable season. Just that's the best word I can. There's a lot of words people are using, frustrating, and for me, it's been unenjoyable. And it's not because I get to come in here and talk about it and break it down. And what about this guy? What about what he said? And what did his mom tweet? And, that's kind of the fun part of this gig. The actual watching of the product on the field has not been very enjoyable.
It's been tough.
And there's no late inning. What do we love about baseball, right? A fight, a comeback.
Walk-off
wins. No, those things are great, man. And those are the types of things that can propel you to some good stuff.
Last season was fantastic.
It really was.
Magic, LFGSD. It was great.
They keep bringing up to me, well, this team's been bad since, blank of last year. Well, fine. But they reeled me in early in the season with, some of the talent. They reeled me in with some of those walk-off wins. And it gave me that feeling in my gut of we're never out of it. Now, our freaking shortstop said it, 3 months ago? We feel like when we get down 2 runs, the game's over. And you see the shoulder slump. You see the dirt getting kicked. And you go, they just don't have the thing. That's why it's been so unenjoyable.
Well, and that's why it's so weird, because they did have it last year. They had that panache. They had that flair. What did they do in the offseason? They didn't change the manager.
What didn't
they didn't they didn't really change the roster much in the offseason. Yes, the Matt Carpenter, Nelson Cruz moves were, ill-fated, but has that been the whole reason why this team has fallen apart?
Like you added Tatis and Bogarts and 2 pitchers that, exceeded all of my expectations in Waka and Lugo.
You added them. You locked up guys that you thought were going to be, one of them got injured in Robert Suarez, but you had a really good plan. in my opinion. The Xander
based
Bogaerts,
on a team
based on
last
a team
year,
that last year
3 wins away from the
yeah,
World
3
Series.
wins away from a World Series. Yeah, it's so stupid. What they didn't do, in my opinion, enough of, and maybe, oh God, never mind. I don't even want to say it.
Do it.
I can't. It's no excuse. They're pros. They make an ass load of money, but them not spending an entire spring together is tough. At some point you're going to have to manage those egos. When you land at spring training for a week, and then you're like, I'm going to play for Curacao. I'm going to play for the Dominican. I'm going to play for Japan. I'm going to play for Korea. All the egos leave. Then they all go play with their boys, and hey, blah blah blah. Well, how's it going to go? Then they all come back together, and they have a week to get it together. It's no excuse. Every other team figured it out. Most other teams figured it out. But what they didn't do enough of was the things that makes a team close. They didn't spend enough time together. I have not seen one family dinner this year. Not one.
They said they had one on Thursday in Arizona.
There's
team dinner on Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, these are the kind of things that I think, like they used to do a lot of. Even when they were bad, but they fought hard. You would still see that. You'd still see everybody out, hanging out. It's important. It's important. And but I mean, you hear what David Peralta said. This isn't Steve Wood's theory. This is David Peralta saying, yeah, you hear it about other teams with so much talent. They don't like each other. They're not playing for each other. It's really obvious when you watch. It's really obvious.
Padres now 6-19 in one-run games this season. Just adding up the agonizing losses. All right, we'll come back. Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods. Have some other games to talk about and play a little take on Woods. Good to have Woodsy back. Qualify someone for Las Vegas coming up next on 97.3 The Fan.
It's an interesting combo, fellas. Therapy works. That's what this team needs. They need some therapy.
Team therapy.
They need to get in a room and just air it out. Right?
I mean,
just air it out.
They did. And then they won the next game. And you know what they didn't do again? They should have had another team meeting. And then another one. Have one every night.
No. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but
I mean the meetings that don't have Tom Cosgrove in them and Matt Carpenter sitting there watching on like he has anything to do with this team. You know who I'm talking about. I need 4 guys in a room with a shrink, Metallica style. Cry, beat each other up, scream at each other, do what you have to do. Figure it out because you guys are stuck together. And what's really going to suck. Now, Juan's obviously only here for another year. So if Juan leaves, then you have the 3-headed monster, Manny, Fernando, and Xander. Plenty of rumors about those 3.
Still a pretty good 3-headed monster.
You think so? Yeah, it's phenomenal.
If you could get the best out of those 3 guys, it would be, it'd be
amazing. Are you kidding? You have Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, and Fernando Tatis Jr. If these guys can't get in a room and say, look, I thought you did this. And you know what? It still hurt me that you got popped last year and left me to do this on one ankle. All right, you're right. I'm sorry. It works. It works. It can absolutely help this team move on. It's very clear that people in that locker room play for themselves. It's very clear. It's really clear when Manny wears 98, nobody even gets off their butt. When Toddy wears, almost wears 100 to the face, nobody gets off their butt. Nobody's pointing and screaming and yelling. We saw on when I was gone, Steven Wilson throws up and in. That pitch got away. Did you see the Mariners dugout?
Yeah, we talked about it on Thursday.
Ready to go down.
We talked about it on Thursday that even though I thought it was clearly accidental. I mean, he got ahead in the count. Yeah. He gave up the home run, but then he got ahead in the count 0-2 and then had one up and in. Even though the Mariners probably knew it wasn't intentional, they reacted as though it wasn't, and that was impressive. I mean, look at the Seattle Mariners, a team, we talked about this last week, man. Traded away their closer at the deadline. They had every reason to go. No one believes in us. Hey, if everyone else is packing it in on us, let's pack it in on ourselves. What have they done instead? They've gone on an incredible run, and I think as of yesterday, they were tied for the last wild card spot. Out of nowhere, they have gelled together even more after a trade deadline that really could have just sucked the life out of that team. Yet they didn't. They went the other direction. The Padres had a trade deadline that generally showed, hey, we didn't trade away Snell or Hader. We added some pieces. We believe in you guys. And how have the Padres responded? They've gone 4-7 since the moment when A.J. Preller, Peter Seidler went, hey, we still believe in you guys. And how have they responded? Losing 7 of 11.
Somebody just said, did the stream end? Is this a repeat? Yeah, that's exactly how we feel, my friend. That's exactly how we feel. No, it's tough, dude. It's a tough watch every night. It bums me out. It just bums me out. This has been so thoroughly unenjoyable.
Saturday's game was very symptomatic. You scored 10 on Friday and then 0. It's the 4th time this season the Padres have scored double digits and then gotten shut out the next day.
That number stood out to me.
Well, of course it does.
4 times you've scored 10 or more.
And yes, they were facing a much tougher starting pitcher the next day. But
I get it. If you watched that game with Zach Gallen, you're like, really?
If you can score 10 against any big league staff, you should be able to put up 3 or 4 against even an ace, even an all-star, even a Cy Young candidate. You should be able to figure out a way to put up at least a couple of runs and give your team a chance to win. Now, I didn't have much hope in terms of Saturday's game. You had the Padres' worst starter, Rich Hill, going up against one of the best in the National League, Zach Gallen. You could go 161-1, and that might be the one I expect you to lose. You can't put yourself in a position where you need to win those games. And when you lose, you absolutely have to come back yesterday and take the series. That's what disappointed me about the weekend. Not that they got shut out by Zach Gallen, even though you're right. They should have been able to put some offense together in that game. That game was one you probably pencil in as a loss most of the time anyway. You have to find a way to win that series. You have to bounce back. You have to come back and win those close games in the end. You have to add on. It's yesterday that I'm mad about, not Saturday's shutout losses, kind of pathetic and uninspiring as it was. It's yesterday that was the big problem and is the sign why this team has been such underachievers this year.
Again, for me, I'm still pissed about Saturday because that team had not won a game in the month of August, Ben. Not one game. And Zach Gallen is a good pitcher. He's a good, fine, sturdy pitcher. There was nothing he did. Now, you want to talk about who's the kid that threw against us in Seattle? Gilbert? Now, he was nasty. Zach Gallen was not nasty. Zach Gallen was piping 2-0 C shots down the middle to Xander Bogaerts, who was like, no, I'm good there. Ooh, I will swing at that 2-1 slider, though, on my hands. Yeah, I'll do that. Twice. Back-to-back ABs. Guys, Zach Gallen is a very beatable pitcher. A very beatable pitcher by guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, who's hot, Xander Bogaerts. This is why you got those guys to beat the Zach Gallens of the world. Should have done it with ease. They had not won a game. Not only did they not win a game, you let them take 2 from you. You let them come back on you. Where is your heart? Do you have no heart? Do you hate the guys you're with so much that you're willing to throw away what this fan base has gone into their pocket for this year and what your owner has gone into his pocket for this year?
I want to see this kind of intensity on Take on Woods. Show us that heart. Every time. Coming up here. About 2 minutes away. We need a contestant. 833-288-0973. We only have a couple of qualifiers this month for a getaway to Las Vegas. Get your name in there by beating or tying Woods in our musical trivia game, but you need to call now to get into the queue. 833-288-0973. Again, we're just about 2 minutes away. Had a bunch of people in my Twitter timeline on Saturday angry that Bob Melvin would start Rich Hill again after his poor performance against the Dodgers in his debut. Why is Pedro Avila not the guy in the starting rotation? Well, they've got more ammunition going forward because Pedro Avila did a great job.
God, he's looked good.
Locked him down after falling behind 3-0. Rich Hill again struggled. And I mean, at this point, it'd be surprising if Pedro Avila didn't have an increased role, and you'd be very hesitant to throw Rich Hill again. But I put that more on AJ Preller than I do on Bob Melvin. When your 100%. GM goes out at the trade deadline, gets a starting pitcher and say, hey, this is the guy who's supposed to bridge the gap until we get, Joe Musgrove and Michael Walker back. You don't simply go, no, I'm good. We're going to go with our last guy out of the bullpen instead of the guy you picked up at the trading deadline for this specific purpose.
Which what leads me to believe that, AJ has a big hand in baseball decisions.
Well, I think any GM in baseball who acquires a player at the trade deadline to use as a starter, the manager's going to use that guy at least 2 or 3 times, and then you reevaluate. But it's not on Bob Melvin, to me, that he started Rich Hill in that game. That's why Rich Hill is here. That's why AJ acquired him. If you want to be mad at someone, be mad at AJ for, once again, a trade deadline that is looking, for whatever reason. I mean, G-Man Choi has no hits.
It's weird. I liked the moves.
I did too.
I liked them.
We always liked AJ's moves on paper.
We like the idea. We'd all like the idea of buying on the margins, and you looked at him and you went, fill
some of the gaps.
I can see that.
The numbers.
If you're not going to use Josh Hader ever, though, you probably should have traded him. And I understand you weren't blown away. From what I understand, they didn't get anything close to what they thought was fair market value for Josh Hader. Well, you could have moved him 2 weeks ago, though, because he's pitched like twice in 2 weeks. You could have moved him well before the deadline.
Let Mariners move Paul Sewald. Yeah. They've played just fine without him. Yeah. Better, in fact.
100%. So it would make me nervous now if we ever did have a lead going into the ninth. If you have Suarez or Martinez or Avila. I mean, Avila's now like a starter. But those type of players, who's going to get those last 3 outs? Nobody's shown that they can do it other than Josh Hader. He just doesn't get the opportunities. Bob's not going to use him in any weird spots. I think that's a request per Josh. And, the only time I'll pitch, guys, is if it's a save situation in the ninth inning and I can get the save.
But I saw that Rich Hill argument a lot. I'm going, what are you expecting Bob Melvin to do? That's who his GM gave him for this specific game in this specific situation. He's got to throw Rich Hill there. Now, I don't know that you throw Rich again. Michael Walker's coming back on Tuesday. Will you have Rich Hill, later in this week, or will you go with Avila or something else? I guess we'll find out.
The thing is, and whoever's calling the shots, whether it's Bob, whether it's AJ, whether it's a combo of both, they've both shown a very, very conservative approach to doing anything different or new or trying anything different or new. They've been running the same lineup out every single day, just switching Campy and Sanchez. That's it. That's all they've done. Now they tried to put Sugar in to play right field the other day. Didn't go particularly well. Those two moves are about the kookiest we've gotten.
Yeah, took Xander off his feet yesterday
with our season on the line. And we also have a bench spot that's not getting used with our season on the line. It's been really cool. So we're not thinking outside the box.
What are we on?
We're not thinking at all at this point. I don't know what's happening.
3+ weeks since Carpenter's.
Yeah, July 24th. Last time he's been in a game.
July what?
24th.
It's August 14th.
I don't understand.
All right, let's get to some take on Woods this morning. Say good morning to James. Hello, James.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You are our contestant today, trying to qualify for a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Kool and the Gang, returning to the International Theater. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. All right, Woods is out of the studio, doesn't hear this part of the game, where you pick our category and get the first 5 questions and take on Woods. Your choices today are the Bible Belt, songs with southern states in the title. Will wonders never cease? The word wonder, key to all of those answers. And something new today. I call it a song title crawl, where the last word of one song title will be the first word of the next song title all the way through the 5 questions. Getting a little unique. So would you like to try the Bible Belt, Will Wonders Never Cease, or our song title crawl, James?
I'll try the Bible Belt.
The Bible Belt. Okay, again, songs with southern states in the title. You'll have 60 seconds to try to get as many of the 5 as possible. If you don't know an answer, you can say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left at the end. First question, the 2-second song. Paulie will play a short clip of something fairly well-known. You need to give me the title of the song and the artist. Remember, 2-part answer for the first one to get the full credit. James, are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
60 seconds on the clock. Again, the title of the category is the Bible Belt. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, James. Let's take on Woods.
Charlie Daniels and The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Correct. Leonard Skinner name checks Neil Young in which southern staple?
Sweet Home, Alabama.
Correct. In 1977, Waylon Jennings recorded a song about which town located about 70 miles west of Austin?
Pass.
The band Mountain famously uses a cowbell to count their way into the start of which 1970 rock classic?
Mississippi Queen.
Correct. A cover of which song became a breakthrough hit and the first #1 country hit for Chris Stapleton in 2015?
Tennessee Whiskey.
Correct. In 1977, Waylon Jennings recorded a song about which town located about 70 miles west of Austin?
Kansas City.
No, but good job today.
Really well done.
Very well done, James. You got all of them except Lukenbach, Texas is the name of that song. But you got Devil Went Down to Georgia, Sweet Home Alabama, Mississippi Queen, and Tennessee Whiskey. I don't know. This one could be close. I don't know. We'll see. All right, James's score has been locked in. Woods goes in blind with no help on the category. 60 seconds, back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on James.
Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band.
Correct. Leonard Skinner name checks Neil Young in which southern staple?
Sweet Home Alabama.
Correct. In 1977, Waylon Jennings recorded a song about which town located about 70 miles west of Austin?
Lukenbach, Texas.
Correct. The band Mountain famously uses a cowbell to count their way into the start of which 1970 rock
Mississippi Queen.
Correct. A cover of which song became a breakthrough hit and the first #1 country hit for Chris Stapleton in 2015?
Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh, James gets nipped at the end. 5-4 with Lukenbach, Texas being the difference.
Honestly, one of my favorite songs of all time.
Of
all time. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas.
The category was the Bible Belt. We had Southern states in each title. And James, what a great effort today, but it's not because Woods showed heart and resiliency to come from behind, down 4-0 at the start.
How about this line? The only two things in life that make it worth living is guitars that tune good and firm feeling women. I don't need my name in the marquee lights. I got my soul. I got you with me tonight. Maybe it's my favorite. It's my favorite country song.
Outstanding performance yesterday.
Give me some. Give me some.
Give
yesterday
Woods
or
some.
today?
Today.
Today. You said yesterday.
There he is. The balladeer.
That's right. Oh, so many memories.
I was, of course, first introduced to Waylon Jennings on the program Dukes of Hazzard, which I never missed.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great show. Great show. Daisy.
Boss Hog.
I say Daisy. He says the rich white D-head.
Like there's one answer.
Yeah, there's one answer. It's Daisy. Daisy Duke.
I liked Enos. He was the nice share.
He says Boss Hog.
They had characters named Boss Hog and Enos.
Yeah. It's very good. It's like Padres draft picks lately.
We got Don't Do This coming up next. All right, there was a spicy story going around Major League Baseball yesterday. Don't know if we can get into a ton of the details, but certainly impacting one of the playoff contenders.
It's weird. We
in
got
the American League big time.
This is going to be a great segment. We've got one of those dicey stories. We've got a really sweet story. And we've got a really funny story. So you're going to get all of this.
It's all coming up
in
next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. It's time for Don't Do This.
You're up, dog.
No, you're up first.
Am I up
today.
first?
You are up first on Don't Do This. Go ahead, Woods.
I
Take it.
I thought you were going to go.
All right, I'll start.
No, I'll go first.
Yeah, you want to go first?
No, you go first.
I'll go first. All right. I will start with, what is absolutely an impactful story in Major League Baseball, but one in which we don't know all the details, and I think you have to kind of be careful about when reporting, and that involves the Tampa Bay Rays and star shortstop Wander Franco, who we know did not travel with the team to San Francisco for their series against the Giants.
That tells me a lot.
We also know that Major League Baseball is looking into some social media posts involving the 22-year-old All-Star. We also saw a lot of chatter about those posts on social media all weekend, but at this point, the Rays are not detailing the nature of the social media posts, and MLB is not commenting to reporters about the nature of the investigation. And I don't really want to go too much further in saying anything, just because, if you say something and it turns out not to be true, you can't unring that bell. Woods, you know what I'm talking about?
The accusations are that he was with a minor.
That's
what the
inappropriate
relationship with a minor.
But in terms of details, I'm not going to.
Well, we don't know. We don't know any details.
Right.
I don't know if they were dating secretly and it ended badly, and she took to social media. I don't.
Or if it was even real. At all.
Yeah,
this is,
I have no idea.
This is completely fake.
But
But they're
again,
looking into it, and he didn't travel.
Yeah, he did
the
not
Rays
travel.
are currently the wild card leaders in the American League. They're 3 games behind the Orioles in the AL East. They're comfortably in a playoff spot. I think they're 6.5 games ahead of the 4th place team. So this is a team you fully expect to be part of the postseason. The question now is, Wander Franco going to be back? Is he going to be able to contribute in an October run? From a baseball standpoint, the outcome of whatever this investigation is seems very pivotal right now in the American League.
Yeah, no question about it. So we'll continue to monitor that situation. In the National Bank Open tennis tournament, Ben, American tennis player Jessica Pegula was
Pegula
was in the.
She's the daughter of the Buffalo Bills owners.
Oh, no kidding.
The Pegulas
was in the finals against Lyudmila Samsonova.
I can't help you there.
Okay. Well, so I don't know. Did they do this because she's American? But anyway,
I think somebody pressed a button.
They're playing a tournament, tennis match, as it were, and this happens.
Oh, wow. Cotton Eye Joe just came on mid-rally. Oh, wow.
In the middle of their match. Where did you come from? Where did you just... It's incredible.
Who gave Foster the aux
who's
cord?
got Foster?
It's your first day on the job in charge of the audio visuals at the WTA tournament. You've gotten your orientation. The first thing they say is, see this button? This is our redneck. This is our redneck Cotton Eye Joe button.
Don't push this.
Never push this button.
I'm pushing.
Well, why do we have it? Well, we might need it.
Well, I mean, you never know when you need a Cotton Eye Joe button. So, I mean, just don't push it.
Cotton Eye Joe.
Whatever you do, don't push the Cotton Eye Joe button.
Is it because...
It's bad enough when it comes on in between innings of the baseball game.
It's bad enough when you hear
Why
it ever.
is it at a tennis tournament to begin with?
It's just bad enough when you hear it ever. They're playing in Canada, too. Somebody clearly is doing a prank.
I mean, like, you're on the 18th green at the Masters, and someone
Can you imagine this guy lining up a Masters putt, and Cotton Eye Joe just comes over the loudspeaker? Oh, my God.
Oh, we pulled that one to the left. Can't have helped that Cotton Eye Joe was playing in his backswing.
It's like those the new school jukeboxes that you see in bars or restaurants, and you can maybe somebody hacked into it.
Oh,
yeah, you can hack into
Shelly
it.
loves
phenomenal.
that bit.
It's
She's
phenomenal.
not even there. Someone's like at a bar, and so you just take over their playlist and play awful music the entire time they're there. Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh, that's good.
There's a Cotton Eye Joe button.
All right, do you have the last one or do I?
I know. Wait.
Oh, this is I watched this last night.
Do this.
Yeah,
That
Oh,
was
no.
Oh my
No,
God, what the-
it's like Paulie hit the Cotton Eye Joe button. at the wrong time.
mega doo-doo.
This got me, man.
This
Got
was
me
incredible.
good last night. Dwayne Wade giving a speech. He is going into the NBA Hall of Fame, and had his dad asked his father to stand up in the audience and delivered this speech.
Yeah, this was like the last 2 minutes of a 26-minute speech, which was so good. And this is how he ended it.
It showed me that there was no limitations on how you would show up for me. It's the exact same way I try to show up for my kids. So even though I hated being called Little Dwayne, I admired you as a kid. I admire you now. We had the same exact dream, and we carry the same exact name, Dwayne Tyrone Wade. To know we hustle all the way to the Basketball Hall of Fame is God's will. So, Pops, I know your knees are a little sore, but will you join me on stage as we take our rightful step into basketball heaven? This one right here, this one is for my father. I love you, and I'm thankful for you.
I love you too, man.
We in the Hall of Fame, dog.
Come on.
Got me so good, man.
It's incredible.
Got me so good last night. Big D Wade fan. Huge D Wade fan. That was awesome. Man. You can tell his dad was a hard ass growing up. You can tell.
was,
You just look at him and go, oh, yeah, he rode that kid.
It was good. I watched some of it. You had Pau Gasol, who's thanking like Kobe Bryant, talked about their very first conversation, lasted about 10 seconds. All right, welcome. Let's go win a championship, Kobe said to Pau. And they did. They went on and won one.
Lakers talking.
Greg Popovich, who talked a lot about coaching at my school, a little D3 school where he got started, and said, I would be happy if I was still coaching there today.
Nice.
But, I got lucky and called it serendipity that everything worked out, that he ended up being the all-time winningest coach in NBA history. It was pretty cool ceremony on Saturday night.
I'm going to fist fight our boss, Adam, coming up next. Ben and Woods, 97.
All right, well, you just left us in our last segment hanging that you wanted to fight our boss Adam.
Just verbally spar.
He had some opinions on Padres bullpen usage. Doesn't everybody? Everybody this season has their thoughts on Padres bullpen errors, why it's Bob Melvin's fault.
Yeah.
What's going on in the bullpen and why they have blown so many leads over the course of this year. Is there a better way to go about it? And I will say that Adam may not be wrong. That there might be a better way to go about it.
Well, and the one thing he is right. It is frustrating, right? It's frustrating to have guys in your bullpen that you don't think you can really count on whenever you need them. Yeah, does that make sense? Like, when I need a big out, I can go to blank. Now, there have been a litany of players, Ben, that have just not answered the bell in the bullpen this year. In fact, most of them. One guy that has answered the bell when called upon is Josh Hader. He's also happens to be the guy with the most restrictions, as it were. Now, again, I'm trying to put myself in Josh Hader's shoes. You didn't extend me, okay? You didn't trade me. You don't use me very much unless it's an ideal situation, meaning we're up a run, up 2 runs, up 3 runs. It's the 9th inning. I need to get us 3 outs. Call it a day. I think earlier in the season, he did one time. I think he did a 4-out save this year, I think once. Again, he's going into a walk year. In a perfect world, if Josh Hader is financially comfortable and set and feels good, Bob Melvin would probably use him a hell of a lot more. Bob Melvin was also a player. Bob Melvin knows, hey, man, you're 3 months away from a pretty sizable pay increase. Now, Bob Melvin's job is to win baseball games. But again, he was also a player. He knows how dicey that can be. And if you're Josh Hader, you're like, I mean, throw me in the situation I'm most comfortable in so I can go get saves. Here's what I don't like, what Adam said. And I see a lot of this. Dude, be creative. Just use, hey, like we heard the one guy said, use them in the 4th. So that's a little bit too creative for my blood. If he's not going to go multiple innings, okay, so he's not going to pitch the 8th and the 9th for you. Get that out of your head. But even if he's reticent to go a 4-out save, I don't like this thing of, well, just get Hader in the 8th. You might see the top of the lineup there, and that's the most important. The game could be won or lost. When was the game for the Padres lost yesterday?
The 7th and the 8th.
Right. Then Adam and other people say, then you just figure out the 9th. My friends, if figuring out the 9th was so easy, you know what they wouldn't do? They wouldn't pay closers billions of dollars to close games. Even if he does get the biggest out in the world in the 7th or the 8th, who on this team is coming in that you trust to come out? I know Barlow's closed before. Maybe you look at him. Maybe. Who? The figure out the 9th part, that's what kills me. Because then, to flip that around is, what did we just pay Suarez to have the 8th? What is it, $30 million for 2 years? I thought he was our 8th inning guy. Well, he clearly didn't have it. So then you go to Hader, and then you figure out the 9th. Bro, that is not a strategy. It's just not. That's not a strategy. We'll figure out the 9th with Tom Cosgrove is not going to work for me.
Well, I do agree with that.
If you do that the entire year, Ben, of figure out the 9th, I mean, I know it can't get any worse than it's been this year, but holy cow.
I'm the guy who's still fuming about not seeing Josh Hader in the National League Championship Series last 3 losses of the season.
It's clear they don't know how to use him, and I don't think that comes from Ben. Again, Bob Melvin looking at the roster going, here's my guys. Hader's available. I don't want to use him. That's not it. So it's clearly something else. Clearly.
But I agree with Adam in that you have to sometimes look at the situation. Let's say the Padres had the lead going into the 8th inning. It was tied yesterday, yeah. But let's say they had a 1 or 2 run lead. And you're going up against, the meat of the order, whoever you're facing, the 2, 3, 4 hitters, the toughest guys on a team. I see the argument. It makes more sense to use your best closer, your best arm in the bullpen against the heart of their order. And you can call it figuring out the 9th, but then use your 8th inning guy in the 9th against the lesser guys at the bottom of the order. Why not set yourselves up? The guys who can potentially
watch your 8th inning guy pitch?
Well, I mean, But if
Or
you're
your seventh
Or
inning
your seventh
guy.
inning guy. What about your
Or
sixth
your
inning guy?
sixth inning
but
guy.
How about your fifth inning
but
guy?
putting them against the toughest part of the order,
It hasn't mattered.
it hasn't mattered. I agree
lick.
with that. But
Not a lick.
I do think there's an argument that closers are sometimes saved for lower leverage situations against like the 7, 8, 9 batters in the ninth.
Sure, and I get it.
When you could have
4,
used them
5,
against
6,
a 4, 3, 4, 5 in an earlier inning, whether it's the 7th or the 8th.
I absolutely. Tom's saying Wilson should be the 8th inning guy. Wilson averages a home run an appearance now, so I'm going to pass on Wilson as the 8th inning guy. Robert Suarez was supposed to be the savior. He has not pitched well at all since he's been back. Not getting much swing and miss at all. I know he's coming off of an injury and, maybe having a hard time getting back. That being said, this is a great tweet from our pal Dominic. He says, Josh Hader is like having a mogwai. It's too many rules. Can't pitch multiple innings, can't pitch back-to-back days, can't be fed after midnight, keep him away from the water. I love Josh Hader. One of my favorite Padres. Legit. And I understand, though, the need to protect your own asset, which is his left arm. I get it. I'm not mad at you for protecting your investment and how you feed your family. I'm really not. I wish we had figured out a better way to use him. And if this was going to be the case, if you go a Dodger series without using him, we use him once, maybe once in the Dodger series, and then none.
They used him both. They used him both days in the Seattle series,
right?
That they lost both of those games. He came in non-save situations, so he does pitch outside of just trying to get a save.
My biggest problem, though, is the guys. Of course, use him through the top of the order in the 7th or the 8th, and let's get creative. Then we'll just figure it out. We don't figure out anything.
Does every team deal with this with the player that's not a rental, but has an expiring contract coming up where they have to worry about his wants and needs?
Man,
the team's want.
Honestly,
Juan Soto is going to be a free agent next year. Is he going to want to bat 8th so he has a good amount of at bats, but not too many in case he gets hurt?
No, I think hitters is different, right? I think hitters are different. I think the older a closer gets, the more reluctant people are going to be to pay him, but he'll still command a lot of money on the open market. Does that make sense?
They should either extend Hader because that's why they didn't trade him, because they want to keep him here. And then, boom, problem solved. Hey, you're locked up for 4 or 5 years now. You're a Padre. Go out and get the job done when we need you, when you're called upon.
Oh, yeah, but once you sign someone to an extension, they get complacent.
Especially here.
You don't get your best stuff out of them.
So if you're not going to do that, then why didn't you trade him 2 weeks ago?
Well, so here's the thing, Paul, and I get what you're saying. Do you want to be the organization that is known for just ripping apart guys who are about to become free agents and then tossing them aside?
You're not asking them to start on
no,
Wednesday.
but I mean, you want to be a place where players want to come play. Hey,
honestly, I think
they're a player-friendly organization. They respect us. They know that part of this job is us trying to earn big contracts, and they respect, some of the things that we need to be successful. It's not a bad thing to be known as a player-friendly organization at times, but
doesn't get much more player-friendly than this one. We're going to overpay you.
Yeah.
You're going to come in. You're going to produce less than you ever have before. Great weather, phenomenal golf courses, soft media, and just have a ball. This is great. Who the F wouldn't want to play here?
And they've done very well in attracting free agents to come to San Diego.
Correct. We're not going to use you too much.
I just think it feels like a slippery slope.
It is, but
star players.
But the whole thing of and that's the thing I think that just galls me the most is that people think Bob Melvin's a moron for not using Josh Hader. Again, I promise you, that man, all things being equal, does not walk to the roster of pitchers available and go, F no, give me Garcia, give me Cosgrove, give me Honeywell. A couple weeks ago. No, that's not how it works. There's obviously something more at play, and I think what's more at play is this is the role I'm comfortable in. Please try to only use me in that role because I want to sign a long-term deal and feed my family and their family for the rest of their lives, which, again, hard for me to get in here and begrudge him that.
We need to check traffic, but I want to talk a little bit more about the bullpen because just like the lineup, what is going to happen in the offseason is a dilemma for the Padres front office. The decision makers have a very difficult bullpen dilemma, I think, coming up in the months ahead. We'll talk about that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Got a crash clearing on southbound 15 just before Scripps Poway Parkway. Everything's over the right shoulder. And now if you're taking that transition eastbound 8 to the south 163, watch out for a ladder reported in lanes. Also traveling on northbound 5 at La Jolla Parkway, we're getting reports of some water spraying in the slow lane. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So we know that Josh Hader is going to be a free agent in the offseason. Yeah. And is going to be an expensive free agent and one that was underused by the Padres this year.
He's going to be fresh as monkey's breath, dude, coming off this season.
And you also have other areas, the starting rotation with Blake Snell going to be a free agent that you're going to want to try to fill and going to have to put resources toward. I think you can make an argument that Josh Hader is not necessarily a priority for the Padres this offseason. We also know that the bullpen has cost the Padres a number of games this year because of their inconsistency. What I think is difficult is how do you decide which guys you want to bring back and which guys you would like to switch out? Because you can make an argument, like take Steven Wilson, for instance. Steven Wilson struggled recently giving up home run balls, but for the most part, he's been one of the better guys in the bullpen. You okay bringing Steven Wilson back? He's still controllable. I mean, you don't generally get rid of players like Steven Wilson while they're, cheap and have been effective for most of the season. But do you also trust Steven Wilson?
No, not right now.
But you bring him back, right?
Pitching, yeah,
next
probably.
Year, you do. You bring him back. All right.
He's a free agent?
No, he's controlled. He's cheap. I mean,
no choice.
You have exactly. But a lot of those guys, I mean, Tim Hill, he's going to be going into his second year of arbitration. He's still controllable. Not free agent expensive, but
make a lot in arbitration, I would imagine.
I mean, I think he made $1.85 million this year. Probably will get a small raise over that, so it'll be a $2 to $3 million player next year. But again, has been good at times. Has also had points where he is completely torched. You probably bring him back, right? Barlow has another year of arbitration. He's making 5.3.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. All right. Well, all of a sudden, you're bringing everybody back. Nick Martinez, he'll be back. We signed him long term.
Well. We did something. with Nick Martinez.
He might be a starter next year.
Well, nobody really knows what he has to opt in by June 4th. Contract. If it's before 9 a.m., it kicks in. It's the weirdest thing. So I think he's back.
I mean, I've seen some promising things out of Cosgrove, Avila, and Kerr. They're all very cheap. You don't get rid of arms like that.
Right.
But you can't trust them either.
Right.
So now we filled 6 bullpen spots already for next year without one single person you can trust.
Right.
How do you then fix your bullpen going forward?
Well, many were saying, the reason we signed Suarez this long-term deal is he's going to replace Hader.
Suarez is coming back. That's 7. That's 7 guys that we've all agreed. They're all coming back next year. That's an entire bullpen.
Does he look
that is coming back next year.
Does he look like a closer to anybody?
Not right now.
No.
Not right now. Now, maybe after, after a real offseason, and if he can come back healthy, he looks more like the guy we saw at the end of 2022. But at the moment, he is not locked back in the way he was pitching at the end of last year. All I'm saying is that there really aren't any moves you can make. You're almost certainly bringing back the bulk, if not all, of your bullpen for next year. So, there's one area that you can't do much about. We've already said you can't really do much about the lineup either. It's mostly coming back next year. Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, Soto, Cronenworth, Kim, barring a complete change of direction for this organization, you are bringing back the same guys next year. So how are you going to fix, and this is what I went on my rant on Thursday when you weren't here. How are you going to fix a team when you can't change any of the players? And I don't think the manager is the problem either. How do you fix a team? You could fire the GM. The new GM's not going to have any more options than AJ Preller did. It's going to be the same players next year. That's why on Thursday I said you need to bring someone in from outside this organization, Woods. Tell me if you agree. Someone with fresh eyes who is going to have some actual authority to talk to Peter Seidler, to really change the way the Padres do some of the things that they do. Development, culture. Someone who can evaluate this team that is going to have a real influence, because you can't really do it in terms of changing the roster around. And I don't think you really should do it by changing the manager around. So someone needs to come in, though, and start making some like serious observations and criticisms of what's going on behind the scenes. Because I don't think they're getting it right now from the people that are currently employed by the Padres. AJ Preller and his staff, they're not getting it. Someone needs to come in here and start saying what's what in this Padres organization. Why don't they get that respect like the Dodgers do when David Peralta comes in? What are they doing differently, and how can they change what they're doing in the organization? Do you agree with that?
I do. I mean, I do. I think it's far-fetched at this point. I do. I think it's very far-fetched.
So you're saying they're just going to bring back everybody next year?
No.
The same.
I bet you AJ fires Bob Melvin. Absolutely. Yeah. Which is going to be malpractice in my opinion. But my that's where my safe money is. And I already saw Bob Nightingale talking about Ryan Flaherty being promoted to manager again. If that happens, I mean, we're, nothing against Flash, but we've talked to Adam. We've heard him talk. He's not a manager. He did the interim management bit for one day and was just as uncomfortable as could get.
I know that there are Bob Melvin critics. I see them all the time.
Every day.
None of those people are going to be happy if they simply promote someone from Bob's staff to take over next year.
Right.
Ryan Christensen, Ryan Flaherty. No one's going to be happy. Matt Williams, even.
Mike Schilt, I see a lot of.
I mean, Mike Schilt's in the organization right now.
No. If you're not going out and getting.
If Mike Schilt knew what the problem was, wouldn't he just tell everybody and say, "Here's what we need to do"?
No doubt. He doesn't want to overstep his bounds.
Oh, is that the problem?
Allegedly, that's what I would gather. But Bob Melvin seems to be the type that says, "Mike, what do you got?"
Yeah,
I don't think Bob's like my way. Shut your mouth. Follow. No, that's not how it goes. I think Mike, what do you got? What are you seeing, Matt? What are you seeing? From as much as I know Bob, I get that vibe. But I would bet dollars to donuts that one man falls on the sword for this season. I can promise you who it's not going to be, and I can promise you who it will be if given the choice.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by South Norte Tequila Cocktails. Real tequila, real juice. Savor South Norte Premium Tequila Cocktails. Sip on a classic margarita, an authentic Paloma. Pop the top on the Mexican Mule. Savor the Matador. Available at Stater Brothers, Ralph's, and more.
Tony says Bob seems nervous. We need confidence. I don't see nervous when I look at Bob Melvin. You know what I do see right now, though? I do see him like almost smug. Like, I mean, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? It's hard to figure out.
Second half of Ben and Woods coming up. Have not gotten into Juan Soto's comments from last week and then his retraction of said comments from over the weekend. You can't unring that bell, Juan. Good try.
Sure you can. I think he was pissed off. I
You
do it
can?
all the
You're
time.
okay
I'm an
unringing the bell?
I'm an
All right,
unbell ringer.
We'll talk
Aren't you
about that.
married? You don't unring bells
Coming
at
up
home?
on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Monday morning. Today is Monday, August 14th. Happy birthday to my mom. It's her birthday today. And I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. Ben Higgins, our executive. Paul Reindl's our executive producer. Ben Higgins is our executive.
I've always wanted to be an executive.
I know. I have too. I guess I was kind of an executive, but not really. Sales manager.
Manager.
Is that an executive?
You hired people? Does that make you an executive?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you have an expense account?
Yeah, but not a card. Like I couldn't, like I had to use my own card, then get reimbursed and do that bit. I always wanted the company card, and I never had.
I've got a company card.
Do you?
Yeah. Not this company.
Purchasing card.
I've got a company card for my other company.
You never use it.
Almost never use it.
What's it for?
Travel mostly.
Yeah,
if they
never
send me to like Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I used it over the years a number of times to book flights and hotels and things like that, but have not used it much since the pandemic when we all stopped going places.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I, today is it's been a rough one. Been a rough Monday after a rough series, and no rest for the weary though. Baltimore Orioles coming to town. Excited to see the Orioles. I'm going to, step back and watch some baseball. I'm not really expecting much from our guys here, but I'm excited to see some of these young players the Orioles have and just kind of watch, observe, what they do. And we were just kind of in the midst of a pretty heated argument about, what's going to happen and what should happen. And really, bottom line is none of us really know. I mean, the last time, and I want to make very clear, we've asked on Ben and Woods to talk to the owner. We've asked, like, don't think we're not, you guys are lazy, man. You need to get Peter on. We've tried. We're trying.
I'll ask again today.
Yeah, Paulie, ask again today. All right. He owns a baseball team. He's very busy. I get it. At some point, Peter's going to address the fans. My heart was broken yesterday when I found an old piece of audio, and I think it was at FanFest, and they asked him, about the collapse.
Spring training.
Is it spring training? You have it?
Pulling it up.
Paulie's going to pull it up right now. It broke
this
my
was
heart.
Following the 2021 season, right? Going into last year.
Yeah, it's tough. Paulie's going to fix it up for us. But it broke my heart when I heard it yesterday.
First of all, mathematically is almost impossible if you want to go all sabermetrics on me, but I look around the room, I see the passion in the players, and I would be more than stunned if it happens. Like I said, I think it's a once-in-a-century time.
I remember that.
I do too.
How do you explain away a utter collapse in 2021? And then you come back feeling confident. Well, I mean, they did that year. They went to the National League Championship Series, and they were able to erase the demons of 2021. They're going to have to do it again in 2024 now and figure out a way to set aside the demons of 2023. Does make you a little bit concerned, though, when 2 out of 3 years, for whatever reason, your team has massively underperformed, massively come up short of expectations, and in different ways has shown you an utter collapse.
No. 2021 was a once in a century. This is a once in a millennium.
Well, maybe one century was 1922 to 2022, and then this century is 2022
to
22. So you get 2 centuries in a span of 3 years
for the price of a lot.
This one actually feels worse than.
This was no collapse, you guys. This has not been a collapse.
I mean,
this has been a long, slow, painful death.
In 2021, there were pitching injuries. You had guys who had no business being on the diamond or on the mound throwing for your team.
Like Rich Hill?
2 or 3 out of every 5 days, though.
Like Rich Hill, maybe.
Yeah, well, once out of every 6 days, now you've got someone, but it's not nearly as bad as it was in 2021, right? I mean, you rarely had a quality starter going at all at the end of the season in 2021.
I tried to block out most of the the August and September of 21, but watching those guys kind of lull around the field and go half-ass was tough. I still don't see that yet. Okay, even though I was pretty pissed after Gallen shoved on us Saturday, I saw some crappy ABs. You're always going to have crappy ABs in a 162-game season. I just didn't think they would come then. I didn't. After last night's, the night before, offensive outburst, and Xander finally kind of getting locked in. And I know I'm honing in on him today. It's not just him. Soto had some bad at bats. I mean, you just see it. It happens. But I don't know, man. It's so hard to just put your finger on what precisely is the problem. Okay, so answer me this. You cruise into Arizona Friday, right? We've all played on teams before. Cruise into Arizona. The bats are working. You are fired up, man.
Xander went 4 for 5 on Friday night. Juan Soto had an RBI triple.
Yep.
Jake had a 2-run home run.
Yeah.
Everybody in the offense contributed on Friday. What was it? 12 for 24.
Yep.
On Friday night from your core guys at the top of your order. It was perfect. It was just what you're looking for from the offense.
That's exactly right. So you got to think when the last out is recorded, how do you feel? You feel good, right? You feel damn good. You're like, oh, man. Now, did you come out on Saturday and go?
Needed that one.
Yeah, we needed that one. Man, it felt good to get in the win column. Did they come out Saturday and go, well, I mean, look what we did last night. We can clearly do it again. And were they lazy? I don't see laziness yet. I see some dejection. I see some frustration. I don't see laziness from this team. I just don't. I see sometimes dumbass trying to take extra bags and stuff. That's what I see. I see pressing. I see that. I don't see the laziness yet. Not saying it won't get here. And I feel like with every devastating loss, we are getting closer and closer, Ben, to the I'm done. Let's give these let's bring up some of these guys, see if they can throw from the minors, Phantom IL for this guy and get him off his feet and retool and blah, blah, blah. It's close, man. It's close. We are like perilously close to the edge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the difference between now and a couple of weeks ago is there's a lot less time left in the season. Now you're 5.5 games out, which isn't a ton, but with just over 40 games remaining, you have to go on a pretty incredible run at some point. And what evidence do you have from the only team in baseball that hasn't won 4 in a row that they can pull off what the St. Louis Cardinals did 2 years ago? What did they win? 17 straight to get into the playoffs?
Yeah.
What the Rockies did back in 2010 and in October.
Tommy says in the chat, he does not see enough frustration. I do. When Rich Hill is getting bodied, he's running off the mound, MFing everybody. Guy still throws 85 miles an hour, though. That's not going to change. I saw Manny frustrated and dropped an F-bomb. I love it. I like to see my players a little frustrated when things are going bad. You know that about me. It's a dumb boomer take, but it's absolutely true. I want to see a little bit more of the helmet throw. Watch Alec Boehm yesterday in the Phillies game.
It's really a no-win. I mean, when you lose, it is a no-win situation, literally. But if you show a bunch of frustration, you're going to get people who criticize going, hey, you got to stay positive. You can't just get down every time your team gets punched in the mouth.
Yeah, true.
You got to stay positive.
You got to stay the course.
But then when you do, and you see, hey, those guys look like they're still having a good time and they're losing.
Don't have a good time.
Everybody else jumping on going, why is this team not care? Because they're still trying to stay positive even though things are going bad. You cannot win when you lose.
It's so stupid, man. It's just so stupid that they cannot do that they cannot string something together. The only thing I think, Ben, the only thing you just asked a good question. What would give you any reason to think that they could? The only reason I think that they can, because they haven't. Math. Odds.
Well, yeah.
Probabilities. It's the only explanation for that I can still grasp onto to say, well, it hasn't happened yet, so that means it's gonna. It's baseball.
The reason no one thought the Cardinals were going to do it 2 years ago,
right?
The reason they were in the position to need to win 17 in a row to make the playoffs is because they hadn't done it all season long, and then somehow in September they did it.
James makes a great point in the chat. Words are so cheap at this point. It's just been all talk from the clubhouse since the start of the season, bro. You could not be more right. Yeah, this is a must win. This is do or die. So you're dead then, because every do or die game that you play, you lose.
No, they're like 5-3 in must-win games. I think
do or dies.
Problem is, you have to win every must-win game. You can't go 500 in must-win games and still be where you want to be at the end of the year.
It is. I mean, talk really is the cheapest, and we want it. We want accountability from our guys. We want accountability. We want them to say they sucked. Rich Hill came out and said, "Oh, when you suck, you suck." Doesn't do anything for me at this point. We got a guy to be an innings eater. He's eaten 6 1/3 innings in 2 starts. It sets you up for massive, massive failure. It just does. And it's a vicious circle, a vicious cycle. Either these guys get in the ring together, beat the crap out of each other, and grab a beer and figure it out, because they sure as hell don't fight for each other on the field. We know that. We've seen there's a treasure trove of information that I can put my eyes on and say, if I'm in the court of law, and say, evidence A, evidence B, evidence C. These guys don't fight for each other. And even if you don't like each other, I don't care. You still wear the Padres on your front of your jersey. Go out and play for each other.
And ultimately, and this is the part that's always the hardest for me, let's say you hated every single one of your teammates, every single one, all 25 guys on the roster. You despised them. You hated the coaching staff. Yeah. You hated management. When you go up to home plate, that's your career.
Yes.
That's your livelihood. Yes. That is your entire future. Everything you've worked toward to get to this point in the big leagues.
Yeah.
You don't need to like anyone to go up there and put up a good at bat,
bro. And
to fight for yourself.
It's the hardest
in that at bat.
It's the hardest argument that I have to continue to tell people is, well, these guys have too big of egos. You're right, which is why I think that they'll go down swinging at least. Like, your ego, you don't want to look at the win-loss record aside, right? At the end of the year, Manny, Xander, Tatis, Soto, Cronenworth, Sanchez, all of these guys will at some point go to Google, type in their own name, look at their stats, then they'll go to Google and type in the other guy's name and go, a little better OPS than him. I can, it's the nature of the business. It's the nature of the beast. They want their numbers, and that's how they get paid.
Even if they've already been paid.
They still, nobody wants to be the guy that blew the big contract.
Yeah,
Nobody.
No one wants to be the big overpaid stiff who got their money and, looked like they never cared again. No one wants that.
Nobody wants that reputation.
You know what they all want? They want to win MVP awards.
Yes.
They want to win World Series. They all want that. I guarantee you that's what they want. Why can't they do it? I don't understand.
They're not playing for the machine, dude. They're not playing for and I don't mean the station that used to be here. They're not playing for the machine of San Diego and the San Diego Padres and the 43,000 people that packed that place on a Tuesday night. And you can bet your bottom dollar with the Orioles in town tonight, that place will be packed again.
Play for yourself, then. Be the most selfish ball player. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
You're a selfish ball player. What does that mean?
All I want to do is hit doubles.
All I want to do is hit and get on base and score runs and drive in runs and hit home runs. I mean, yeah, you can say a selfish ball player won't lay down a bunt when he really needs to.
We're seventh.
The Dodgers don't lay down any bunts.
The Braves haven't sacrificed all year.
Are they all selfish? Maybe. I don't know. It's working for them. Not working for the Padres.
It's so maddening. It's just maddening. And I want to. We're here for you, though. People can call. You guys can call. You want to call?
Yeah.
Let some people air it out.
833-288-0973. You can join us coming up. We still need to get into you say you can unring the bell. You can apologize and say you don't mean something.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to get into those
even
comments.
Though you said something.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can totally do that.
I am a master unbell ringer. Are you kidding me?
You are.
I am.
You think you are.
The fact that my wife is still married to me means I am a master
bell
unringer of the bell. I ring a lot of bells, and then I have to unring them. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
This hour on Ben and Woods is brought to you by the Golf Mart. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
This is a great song for this segment. It's called What Jail Is Like. It has felt a little bit like being in jail as a Padre fan this season, Ben. Great points in the chat talking about the all the guys and not performing. And Tony says, well, I mean, look, nobody wants to be looked at as an Eric Hosmer type, high paid, very poor production, salty with the media, surly. I mean, I know he's beloved in the clubhouse and all that, but I think nobody wants that moniker. Nobody ever wants the moniker of underperforming, no matter what it is you do. If you're a plumber, you want to try to be the best plumber you are. You're a sales rep. You want to sell your ass off, hit quota every single month. If you've ever been the weak link at a place before, it's the loneliest feeling in the world. And I have absolutely been the weak link. Not here, Ben, much to what people say. But I have been like the lowest seller on the board, and it's a bad feeling. Like you're like, bro, everyone's closing business. What are you doing?
Don't you think that, guys like Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Xander Bogaerts all have a potential Hall of Fame trajectory in front of them.
Sure, yeah.
But you don't get to the Hall of Fame because you made a lot of money.
Correct.
You actually have to go and perform year in and year out and do it to get to the Hall of Fame. To me, there's just no question that any one of those guys, they want to succeed as much as they can on the field to bolster at least their own, even if they're not playing for their team, to bolster their own individual credentials.
No doubt. No doubt about it, man. I mean, and I've worked on teams before where I was like, I really don't care what you guys do. I really don't care about this company. I just want to win. I want to win. And that means money in my pocket. That means, applause in a sales meeting, a staff meeting, whatever. Yeah, that stuff, it motivates me. But at the end of the day, you got to put up the numbers. And nobody wants to be the guy that doesn't put up their numbers. By the way, if everyone puts up numbers, you should have a pretty good team, one would say. Everyone hits with runners in scoring position well, you're going to have a good team. Everyone gets their outs in the bullpen, does their jobs in the bullpen, you're going to have a pretty good team.
Keep hearing the word baseball cards thrown around. The numbers on the back of your baseball cards.
Right.
If these guys just played to their career averages this year, we'd be in pretty good shape.
Good shape, my friend.
So I woke up on Thursday morning. I hadn't seen it on Wednesday night, and Woods was on vacation, but saw the comments.
I wouldn't call it a vacation.
Trip. Woods was on his trip, right. Saw the comments that Juan Soto made after the loss to the Mariners about how sometimes the team just gives up. Literally, we just give up. Don't keep fighting, grinding over at bats. He said the quote was, literally, we give up in games, which of course is going to rankle a fan base that has sold out almost every single game this season, that is paying a lot of money to watch the team. When you hear a star player say, we literally give up, that's going to make people pretty angry.
Yeah.
And they were on Thursday. I felt that and I understood it. Friday, Juan Soto tried to unring the bell. He said, I bleeped that up. Just bleep days. Really frustrating. I shouldn't have said anything like that. I trust in these guys. I think everybody's trying to do their best, trying to go out there and win games.
Yeah.
Do you think that erases what he said on Wednesday night?
I think Juan Soto is a chatty dude. I know that. And I think after a really frustrating loss like the one he came off of, it doesn't surprise me at all to hear that. You hear that all the time. That is not a real hot sports opinion from Juan Soto. Saying after a game, walking in, somebody asked him the question. No, it's like we quit, man. I've done that to you guys before. I've walked out of here and like, this is a terrible show. We have to do better, right? It's nothing personal. It's mostly self-reflective. But I've done that 100 times in the 5 years.
And when you back up your retraction with actions and you come out and then you have like 10 good shows in a row after that, you realize it was something said in the heat of frustration.
Sure.
And it's understandable. However, from a fan perspective, I will look at those two comments. I will look at the one that Juan Soto said on Wednesday night. We give up. We literally give up. And I'll look at the other one that says, hey, guys are really trying to go out there and do their best. If the Padres keep playing like they have this weekend, I'm going to go, that was the second comment was just spin control. It was damage control.
I mean,
and he felt bad about saying it, but the real honest comment is the one he made on Wednesday.
But
if the Padres go out and win a bunch of games after that, I will say, all right, Juan was right. He said that in frustration, and we can give him a pass because you look at this team and they are showing heart and they're showing fight. So right now, I think the comments that Juan Soto made on Wednesday were the authentic comments, and Friday was just a bunch of PR BS because someone
got in his
in the
face.
office, someone either a teammate or a coach or someone in management or in PR came down and said, this can be a really bad look for all of us, you included, unless you say something. But is that what you really think, or are we just trying to do some damage control here on Friday, a couple of days after the fact?
I mean, the proof is in the results, and the results have been crap all year. So
I don't think he really can unring that bell without the team going on a winning streak.
No, it's already unrung. It's already unrung. I mean, yeah, I shouldn't have said that in the heat of passion, in the heat of the moment.
But I said it.
I said it. And I don't think a winning streak, by the way, you haven't had one of those all year. So I don't think that's the magic solution to unring Juan Soto's bell. I think that he's frustrated. I think they're all frustrated. And I don't really care about, again, talk is still very, very cheap at this point, no matter what they say.
If someone important to you, a father figure, a mentor, said to you something very biting and critical, like, I just don't see that you're able to live up to your potential. I am incredibly disappointed.
Sure.
And maybe they were frustrated. And then they come back a couple of days later and say, I shouldn't have said that. I was wrong. I was upset. Do you ever forget that they said it?
I forgive them.
Do
certainly.
you forgive them?
Yeah.
But do you ever forget that it was said once?
Well, but I use it more as motivation. I do. That's how I am. That's how I'm wired. I use that as, okay, well, I'm going to show you. And in the end, that guy gets what he wants, right? Now, if it's from Adam or something, a boss, in the end, they win because you've now fired me up. It didn't fire the Padres up, really. They did win, I think, the next game.
They did.
Yeah, they won the next
They
game.
had a team meeting, and then they won. And guess what they didn't do after Friday's game? They didn't have another team meeting.
And they didn't win again.
Maybe you need to have a team meeting after every single game to inspire the team the next day.
Yeah.
Don't start winning and thinking, oh, we don't need a team meeting anymore. Have the team meetings nightly. And then come back out the next day as though you just played the worst game of the season the day before.
Yeah.
And then show us what you've got. Maybe that's the key going forward.
A daily meeting talking about all the things that you did well and what you need to do tomorrow is not the worst idea.
A daily meeting going, you know what? We won. We still aren't anything. We still suck. Look at our record and everything we've done wrong this year. We need to be better the next day. I don't care that we won tonight. We need to be better the next day than we were today. It wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
One win is not good enough for this team. Have that team meeting every night. All right, we will take a timeout. Usually at 8:30s on Mondays, we have our Cespedes family barbecue crew in. They are postponing. Jake's going to be on tomorrow. They went to Jordan's wedding yesterday and are still recovering, I think, from Jordan's wedding. So we will take some phone calls when we come back. 833-288-0973. You've had a lot of chance to hear what we've had to say about Juan Soto, about the bullpen, about Josh Hader, about just everything that's frustrating you on this team. Now is your chance to join us when we come back. 833-288-0973. Ben and Woods back after this on 97.3 The Fan. Sour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by South Norte Tequila Cocktails. Real tequila, real juice. Savor South Norte. Mexican-inspired premium tequila cocktails made with real tequila and real juice. Sip on a classic margarita, an authentic Paloma, or crack open a Matador or the Mexican Mule. Pick yours up at Stater Brothers, Ralph's, and more. All right, full phone lines ready to discuss, in all likelihood, the San Diego Padres. We will get your calls right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Got a solo vehicle accident now on southbound 5 before SeaWorld Drive. This car hit a palm tree over to the right shoulder. Also some wood debris across lanes eastbound 8 just before the 805. I'm Kelly Tannick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Just a reminder, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply is teaming up with The Fan to give one lucky listener the chance to win a luxury suite for 20 people to the upcoming game on Monday, September 18th versus Colorado. Visit 97.3thefansd.com/garden for details and enter to win. You ready to go out to these phone calls, Woods?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, let's start with Michael. You are up on a Monday morning with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, Michael.
Lead us off, buddy.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Good. All right.
So listen, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate you guys on your new contract, and especially that you guys went to bat for Paulie, because I'm telling you, whether I always agree with you guys or not, you guys are entertaining.
Thank
you bring a lot of fun. You guys have knowledge, and I'm just glad to be a part of it and glad that we're going to be able to listen to you guys for 3 more years.
Appreciate it very much.
With
Thanks,
Paulie
Michael.
driving the ship. But listen, I want to throw this out there because, man, I have been listening, to the fans, and I'm a big Padre fan. I've been a fan for, oh my gosh, over 45 years. And the one thing that has become apparent is this: for us as fans, it's about entertainment. For the ball players, because we've been there before, or those that have been ball players before know that when the fans are expecting something, and we're expecting something out of ourselves as well, we get frustrated when we can't provide the fans with what they are expecting.
Yes, sir.
And these guys are pressing right now. We just got to continue to show them support. Listen, it's not a true fan isn't one when times are good that they're supporting them. It's when times are tough.
It's a really good point, man.
That's what we've got to do.
And it's an excellent point. It's well taken. I was going to bring it up. Saw a tweet this morning from Deacon. And I looked at it and I laughed. And I went, can you imagine actually reading that on the air and the response that you'll get? And you see what's happened in Philly, right? Trey Turner having a just horrific season. Came out after a particularly rough game. Got out in the media. He was in the cage till midnight working on his games, pissed off, almost in tears, and it came out in the next game, and Philly decided, they all banded together and they said, let's give him a standing O. Walked out. It was pretty special. It really was. Now, these are the same fans that had driven that guy to tears, right? Essentially. But they decided at that point, you know what? He's here. He's here for a long time. Let's get behind him and let him know he's our guy. Just like they did with Alec Boehm, who said, I effing hate it here. I don't want to be here. He owned it after the game. He unrang that bell after the game. They supported him. Great season, great career.
Trey Turner took out billboards to thank all the Phillies fans.
Did he?
Yeah, digital billboards all over Philadelphia.
I did not know that.
To thank the fans for that gesture, which was really cool.
So Deacon tweets us an hour ago. Yo, Ben and Woods. Maybe we need to give the entire Padres team a standing ovation to start the homestand at tonight's game. We haven't tried everything yet. I will say the stadium is always packed. It's always packed. So there's the first order of business. It's not like you're not getting fans to come out and watch this team. I don't know that I could get on here and say, yes, that is the answer.
I don't think the fans need to do one
more
thing than they've already done.
I kind of agree with you, Paulie. I kind of do.
They have done their part.
Yeah, I agree. They pack it.
I mean, yes, there's been some times where I've heard boo. I've heard some boos at Petco Park,
sure, and for good reason.
And I think that Padres fans aren't. I mean, everyone thinks Padres fans are the softest fans in America. I think we've got some good fans who know baseball and they know when to cheer and they know when not to cheer their team. But it is certainly not Philly or New York. It's not the unrelenting string of negativity and criticism. So, yeah, I don't think the fans have been an issue. It's the team isn't failing because the fans have just crushed them with these expectations.
No. Kevin says they should give us a standing ovation.
That's such a great
I will
point.
say what Michael had to say about being a baseball fan is very true. How many teams would you say, Woods, at the end of the year had non-disappointing seasons? There's the World Series champion, maybe one or other two teams that got deep in the playoffs that met or exceeded expectations, maybe one or two that were expected to do nothing and I had a really positive year, like building, we thought we were going to be a 70-win team and they won 85, and it's pretty good. I mean, but for the most part, there's only like 5 or 6 teams that have non-disappointing years. And the other 20 to 25 teams every year ends up being disappointing because you didn't win the World Series or you didn't get nearly as far as you thought. I mean, you've got probably a 70 to 80% chance that you're cheering for a disappointing team every single year, no matter what happens when they start. And this year, Padres have been lumped in with that 3 quarters that has a disappointing season in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
so,
and I think, though, there's so much that goes into that. You talk about the acquisitions at the deadline, and not this season alone. I mean, I don't know how much I was really expecting from G-Man Choi, Garrett Cooper, Scott Barlow, and Rich Hill, but I expected something.
I mean, they all had some power. Choi and Cooper, and we have seen no home runs from either of them.
Has Choi gotten a hit yet?
Not a single hit.
A single hit. That's an issue that happens every single year when AJ makes moves. If I'm AJ Preller, I'm like, I don't want to bring anybody else in. Yeah, it never works. It never, ever works.
You can blame the culture, but I pointed this out last week. Those guys haven't been exposed to the Padres culture.
Correct. They don't know that the culture's.
You don't instantly get tarnished by a culture in 5 minutes when you land in a city.
You walk in the clubhouse and go, "Oh, I don't have to try here. This is awesome." And again, that's not how baseball players are wired.
It doesn't work that way.
It's wild.
You can't blame the development. You can't blame the coaches.
They developed other places.
They all have learned everything other places. So you think they should come in. If you think the Padres development is the problem, those guys coming in should be better than all the other players who have been here for a while.
That's exactly
so
right.
Why have they been so bad?
Elisa says, and I tend to agree, I have gone 180 degrees. It's the curse. It is just wild. They get here, and they just forget how to perform like they did before.
Must be the ivy on the
it's that damn
batter's
ivy.
eye out
there.
there.
Where other teams come in and have no problem with the ivy whatsoever. It's just it's
we could do an entire show this offseason. Dumb reasons why the Padres
have been terrible.
And the whole show, we could do it for 4 hours. Let's go to Dan in OB. Dan, welcome to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, good morning, Ben. Good morning, Woods.
Hey,
good
buddy.
morning, Paulie. How's it going?
Good, man.
Yo.
Good job this morning on finding a way to polish this turd of a team up to try to bring some hope to it.
I really don't think I've been trying to do that. Have you?
I don't. I left my polish at home, and this turd is right. This turd's too big to polish right here, man. It's been terrible.
We all know that there's nothing that this team can do to turn it around. But at least for the fans
that
spend their hard-earned money,
to
come and fill these stands, put on a show for us at least. If you can't do it for yourself, come out of yourself and do it for the fans that show up cheering proudly on these San Diego Padres.
It's such a good point, man. I got a DM last night from our guys over at Divine Sports Gospel. They listen every single morning. They do their own media podcasts and everything else, and they're good dudes, man. They really are. They DM'd me last night. They were at Outside Lands Festival up in San Francisco, and he goes, dude, you would absolutely lose your mind if you saw how many Padre jerseys are around here. It's up in San Francisco, and he said it's insane. He goes, and so my little nephew is 9 years old, went to his baseball tryout yesterday morning. My sister-in-law sent me a pic. You know what he was wearing? He was in full City Connect. He's in Austin, Texas. Full City Connect. My brother's wearing his lid. The whole effing country is dying for this team to do something. You have captured something with some of these players that you have, the Tatises of the world, the Sotos of the world, the Mannies and Xanders, and on you go. The only thing you haven't done is win games. You've done everything else right. You really have. You've turned this into a franchise that people can't stop talking about. You've turned them into a franchise where people in Austin, Texas are like, I've got a tryout. Let me wear my City Connect. The only connection they have to the Padres is me. And now it's the players. They love them. You've done some good things here. The only thing you haven't done is win consistently. And I know that's asking a lot, seemingly, but it's truly staggering the leaps and bounds this organization has come in the last 5 years without winning a bunch.
You have players that do spectacular things on a regular basis.
No question.
Manny
The
making
defense,
a great defensive play, or
Hassan Kim.
prodigious home runs, guys taking extra bases. I mean, we see it on an almost daily basis. Spectacular players doing spectacular things that don't translate into wins. And one thing that Dan said, which I can't seem to get my head around, is he says, we all know there's nothing this team can do to fix or turn around this season, which feels very true.
It does.
They also could get one more key hit a game, and they'd probably have 15 more wins right now.
No question.
They could do almost nothing, and they could have like 15 more wins. So the very simplest thing that they could do could have turned around the entire season. But right now, it feels like there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, and listen, not that it's simple to do.
No,
it's not. But that's why you pay the most money for the allegedly best players to narrow your window there.
It's not like, if they just had 3 more starting pitchers and 2 more guys in the bullpen
and an elite closer
and a couple of more superstar players, this team could be really good. No, they need one more key hit a game.
One out, one big out.
Maybe like 3 more key hits a week. And this team would be rolling into a playoff spot.
But I don't want the misconception that we're in here this morning saying, well, they've just been unlucky. They've just been unlucky.
No, they haven't done it.
That's right. I mean, they have been unlucky, but it's also, you've seen really bad ABs. You've seen really bad ABs in clutch situations.
The unluckiest of unlucky teams should
win 4 in a row,
themselves into a 4-game winning streak.
Or an extra inning win. You can be the unluckiest sad sack and you get 1 extra inning win. The nerves I felt, there was actually a small sense of relief yesterday when we lost that game.
Go to extra innings.
I'm not kidding. There was, I couldn't bear to watch that.
It's either a 1-run loss or an extra inning loss. I don't know which one is worse that you're adding to the totals to, but they're both bad.
Well, they were about to set the record with 1 more, I think. I think the record's 11.
Yeah,
11.
12, I think.
12,
I think
and we have
2
10.
more, and we have 10. 833-288-0973. Let's try John. You are next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, John.
Good morning, fellas. How we feeling today?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. I'm actually calling you guys from sunny San Francisco,
nice.
Where I just got back from outside lands. And you are very right that the brown and gold is very much alive up here. I just, watching it from afar, it feels a little isolating. But I got to say, I wasn't disappointed last night or yesterday with this team. I mean, it was kind of predictable at this point. But you know what? I got to say, Padre fans are, I think, are the first to criticize ourselves. But you know what? I just want to let everyone know that, we are the Friar faithful. And, I think we bash on our team a lot, but I think at the end of the day, we love our team. And, it's easy for us to be Dodger fans for sure, but we love this team. And I think we need to remember that in this frustrating year as a fan base. But I think we all need to rally behind this team no matter what. And, we may be going to the off season with no playoff hopes, but at the end of the day, this still is a good team. And we have this team locked up for a while, this good team locked up for a while for, many, many years to come. So have hope, Padre fans, have hope.
It's a good 30,000-foot view, certainly. And you're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with anything you said. It's a mature way to look at it, to be sure.
Pat yourself on the back, Padres fans. You've had a good season.
Yeah, you've had a
really, really good season.
You guys have kicked ass.
And I have seen,
obviously,
I've seen some fans frustrated on social media going, I just can't watch this team anymore. It's too frustrating. And I get that. I've also seen a couple of people go, we need to protest. We need to stop going.
Sure.
And I'll understand that for a team like the Oakland A's, where, hey, we're going to move the team to Las Vegas, for an owner that puts zero resources into their roster, and you want to try to alter the behavior of your management. I can see that.
The biggest
I don't know. I don't know that Peter Seidler's the person you want to punish this season, though, for your San Diego Padres failures.
If we were in the Bay Area doing Ben and Woods in the Bay Area, the biggest fight we would get into on a daily basis is Ben would want to talk about the A's and what they did the night before, and I would say no. Right? No, we do not give them a mention of we don't give them a breath on our show. And you would probably, after a while, say, you know what, you're probably right. Once it became more evident that they were leaving, they don't get our time. I don't feel that way about this team. And I see the same, I can't watch anymore, Woodsy. And what I say to that is, man, you do you. I will not miss a game for the rest of the year. I didn't miss a game when I was on my so-called vacation. I did not miss a pitch. I can't stop watching. I'm a glutton for punishment. They find new ways to lose like I've never seen. It's incredible. We've had pitch clock violations galore. But we've seen some spectacular catches. And, I love watching Hassan Kim play baseball. He's a reason that I want to go to the ballpark to watch that man play baseball, to see what he's done this season. I still love watching Juan Soto hit. I love watching him hit. I love it. Does he have frustrating at-bats? Sure. He's going to get 600 and some odd at-bats this year. Some of them are going to be frustrating. But when that man barrels a baseball,
which he does more than any other player in the major leagues.
There's nothing like it, man. When Manny Machado is on his game, when Xander Bogaerts had that night on Friday night, bro, I can't stop watching. I'm not the guy that's going to turn his back and go, I want to go watch preseason football. I can't do it. I won't do it.
I'm looking at the rundown for Bay Area Ben and Woods this morning. We're discussing whether it's Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, or Brock Purdy as your starting quarterback for the 49ers this year.
Yeah.
We're discussing, did you see that story that the 49ers were about to sign Phillip Rivers to play in the Super Bowl last year?
I saw that.
Had they won in the NFC Championship?
I also saw the Niners
sign Phillip Rivers to start the Super Bowl.
I saw the Niners owner is under investigation for what?
Spicy story here in the Bay Area.
Fraud?
Yeah, spicy story here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr coaching Team USA in the World Cup of Basketball.
How are
talking
the
about our
Warriors
friend Steve Kerr. We have a weekly with Steve Kerr on Bay Area Ben and Woods.
We can do the Giants. We can do
absolutely true.
Giants talk, certainly.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of Giants talk. Hey,
talked about Steve Kerr last week in the promotion that his son Nicholas got.
Kerr.
It's a tough one.
By the way, the Giants, who are currently in second in the wild card race, not playing very good baseball either. Did they get the last one against the Rangers yesterday, at least, or did they get swept by the Texas Rangers? Bruce Bochy coming back into his old team, and I know they took the first two of that series, and then yesterday went extra innings, and the Giants pulled it out in the bottom of the 10th, so they did get one against the Rangers yesterday, but they have not been playing well. I mean, they're one of the reasons why you thought the Padres would still have hope. They had lost 6 of their last 7 going into the game yesterday and still have not really lost any ground in the wild card race because teams behind them, like the Padres and the Marlins and the Reds, have been unable to take advantage of the fact that the Giants have been playing miserable baseball this past week.
Well, and so
Marlins
the
got one yesterday. Good.
Oh, yeah. I texted Skip Schumacher after the game. They scored 5 in the 9th off the Yankees to beat them. And Garrett Cole just gets bodied again. Didn't take the L, but doesn't get the
By
dub.
the way, everyone burying the Yankees now, a team that is only 5 games out and has a winning record.
They are going.
And the Padres are 5.5 and have a losing record, but the Yankees are dead and buried, but we still hold hope for the Padres. I don't know.
Yeah.
All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We got more headlines with Paulie. Sam Levitt going to be with us. All coming up in our final hour of Ben and Woods next year on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods on a Monday. Padres Orioles tonight. We're going to give away some tickets to tomorrow's game coming up in our next segment right before the bottom of the hour. So stay tuned. If you haven't been to a baseball game recently, I promise you the experience at Petco Park. You can separate yourself from the results. Always seem to have a good time when I go out to the ball yard.
My beloved Corey Stewart texted me. He said, yeah, we should give them a big old standing ovation tonight and then watch Grayson Rodriguez strike out a dozen. I said, man, that is so true. I'll be watching. I will be watching.
Speaking of Baltimore sports teams, did you see what may be the most impressively pointless streak in sports history?
Did see this.
The Baltimore Ravens won their 24th consecutive preseason game over the weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles. Josh Johnson, the seemingly never aging
still going.
Josh Johnson
program, yeah.
on his, I believe, 24th different professional team, threw a touchdown pass in the second half to lead them to their 24th straight preseason win. They have not lost a preseason game since 2015 was the last time they lost a preseason game. It means less than nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. It means absolutely nothing. Yet that is, to me, one of the most odd and incredible streaks that you will ever see.
I need to bet on the next one.
24 in a row. And that to end the streak,
Correct.
when you finally bet on it, they'll lose in their 25th consecutive preseason game. That's nuts. How do you win 24 meaningless games in a row?
I lost 4 baseball bets total last week. Guess who? 4. Or I won the rest.
Padres?
Yeah.
Padres?
Mm-hmm.
Should know better by now.
Yeah.
If anybody should know better by now.
Vegas
would be
doesn't.
you.
Vegas does not know better. They're favored every game. It's like Vegas is like, I thought they had a really good roster. Maybe they just haven't put it together yet.
They're like, no, we got some idiot in Encinitas that keeps betting on us. He's not figured it out yet. It's been 5 months.
All right, minus 167.
Let's let him keep losing his money here.
Wow, that is fantastic, man. Fantastic. Okay.
All right, let's
do this.
Let's pause for a second from the Padres talk. Get some other headlines. Paul Reindl on the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Gentlemen, it's that time. College football rankings every Monday morning. And we've got our first one.
Adam is just dancing around wherever he is right now. He is hooting and hollering and celebrating the first AP top 25 college football of the year.
First one. And no real surprise here. Georgia is the number 1 team in the preseason top 25 poll for the AP.
You're not doing the felon rankings because they're also lead that as well.
The driving too fast rankings.
A lot of issues.
They do that for sure.
A lot of issues on that Georgia Bulldogs squad.
Top 5 goes Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU.
Alabama out of the top 3 is, I think, fairly rare for a preseason poll at this point.
Yeah, Michigan. There's been a lot of I can't figure out what's going on with Jim Harbaugh. First he was suspended, now he's not suspended.
Is he not anymore?
Apparently he reached an agreement to modify his suspension, but then it was rejected. So now he's appealing instead of just taking it. I don't know how long that's going to take. But
was it 2 games or 3?
I think it was 4.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, they were all
against crummy opponents, though.
Yeah.
So
I think you just got to wear that one.
I mean, Michigan and Ohio State, 2 and 3. Number 6 is a team from a conference I've never heard of, the Pac-12. What's that?
Yeah.
USC.
They're 6.
They're 6.
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems right.
I mean, at this point, at this time next year, if you went with the conferences they're going to be in, it would be SEC, Big Ten, SEC, SEC, Big Ten, because USC would be in the Big Ten. You'd have nothing outside of the top 7 out of those 2 conferences, with Florida State from the ACC, who, by the way, wants to probably get out of that conference and get into the SEC, followed by Clemson, Washington going to the Big Ten, Texas going to the SEC, Tennessee, SEC, and then Notre Dame, your Fighting Irish, check in at number 13. Was
staying strong and independent.
Number 13, Utah going to the Big 12.
Probably a little high for the Irish.
Oregon going to the Big Ten at number 15. I don't see San Diego State. Others receiving votes? No.
No.
They did throw Jalen Mayden threw 3 touchdown passes against his own defense in a scrimmage at the Fan Fest on Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium, which I
got a hit in adult
Aztecs
league
fans
yesterday.
A little excited about that. Who knows? Maybe this will be the year. Well, Ryan Lindley, the new offensive coordinator, going to turn things around for the Aztecs offensively.
Okay. Forward to that, Greg.
Yeah.
They open in less than 2 weeks against Buffalo. No, Ohio. Not Buffalo.
The
Ohio
University.
All right. From college football to pro football. Saw this story late last week. Kind of an update on something we definitely covered in Don't Do This. Former Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs III was sentenced last week 3 to 10 years in prison.
Oh, man.
For the DUI accident that killed a woman and her dog back in November of 2021. He's eligible for parole after 3 years. And of course, like he does for any controversial football topic or anything in sports these days, O.J. Simpson weighed in. He's got thoughts.
I know I went to college on a football scholarship, but somehow this math is not adding up to me. You're driving a car at roughly 160 miles an hour on a public street and end up killing a girl and her dog, and you get 3 to 10 years. You go to a hotel room that you're invited to retrieve your own personal stolen property I now have because it was ruled to be mine by the state of California. And you get 9 to 33 years. Same courthouse, same city, same state. Somehow it just does not add up to me.
You ever,
I'm just saying.
Have you ever heard right message, wrong messenger?
Yeah.
Like that was a horrific thing that Henry Ruggs did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was unthinkable. Not only did he kill that young woman and her dog, but apparently neither of them were killed by the crash. It was the fire, like after the crash. It's such a horrible story that 3 to 10 years does seem getting off lightly for a crime like that. But when O.J. Simpson is the person criticizing for getting off lightly when you kill 2 people, or a person and a dog in this case, it seems like the wrong person to send that message.
If I'm OJ, I'm not gonna really ever call into question the legal system ever again. I will count my blessings that I only had to do whatever I had to do for the gun charge, memorabilia theft, and all of that. I mean, the man legit got away with murder. Legit. Double murder. Brutal murder. Don't know that I'd be like, well, it's just not a fair system. You're good. You got yours, man. Holy cow. The juice. Proud. Where'd he go to college?
He went to a Big Ten school. Some Big Ten school.
That's right. Proud alum.
Oh, boy. Finally, I don't know that we ever actually discussed this on the show, but there was a viral video, in every sense of the word viral, from maybe a month ago now. The woman on the plane. You guys remember the woman on the plane? That MFer is not real.
Yeah, I remember her.
Woman having
I could fix her.
Some sort of a manic episode. Yeah. Something. I mean, something was off. This moment was captured on cell phone camera, and it went crazy.
And there's a reason why I'm getting the off it, everyone.
can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two f***s, but I am telling you right now, that back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not.
Terrifying.
I'm not going to.
Okay. So she leaves. She was not, you didn't hear hide her hair. You didn't get a name. We got nothing for weeks.
Weeks. I mean, bro, that was straight out of a scene from Final Destination.
Final Destination.
Terrifying.
Yeah, no doubt.
And yeah, I'm not getting on this. You guys can all. My headphone just blew out. Oh my god.
Wow. Paul just burst an eardrum.
Like, you guys can all die on this plane. I'm not doing it. Well, she's made a comment over the weekend. I think TMZ got it first. She has spoken up. Her name is Tiffany Gomez. She gave a 2-minute apology. Here's a little bit of that apology.
We all have our bad moments, some far worse than others. And mine happened to be caught on camera for the whole world to see multiple times. Sorry, trying not to sound like Minnie Mouse. Well, it has been really comical for everyone, and I have highly enjoyed so many of the memes. On the flip side, it is very invasive and unkind, and I don't know what I would do without the love and support of my friends and family. They are loyal to a fault, and I don't know what I did to deserve them. Sorry, y'all. I hope that I can use this experience and do a little bit of good in the world, and that is what I intend to do. I hope that you guys can accept my apology, and I can begin to move on with my life.
Yeah, we're all good. We're good.
It wasn't much of an apology if you listen to the whole 2.5 minutes.
She's fine.
She also never really addressed what happened
Why?
or what led to that.
Yeah.
Nothing, not a word.
Yeah.
Just, oh, this happens to everybody. Mine was just captured on film.
You're right. No one should be judged by their lowest moment.
Oh, absolutely not.
And I agree with that. That being said, 99.999% of us don't go absolutely losing our minds on an airplane and terrify all the passengers.
At least on camera.
And on camera. Well, it doesn't really happen. I mean, I haven't been on every flight, but I can tell you of the, several dozens of flights I've been on in my life, none that has not happened on any.
But I am telling you right now, that back there is not real.
It sounds like Hannah when she's talking about Taylor when he's in a full meltdown. If you put that in context, do it again. Here's my son in the background.
But I am telling
Hannah,
you
come
right
again.
now, that back there is not real.
Oh, I know. He is unreal. He is unreal. He's not of this planet sometimes.
That back there is not real.
Yeah.
Especially if he's eating jelly beans.
Bro, the jelly
As we found
beans.
out this
Oh
morning.
my! It was like cocaine for him. I mean, he did not sleep a wink. It was awful, awful.
And that's really, I mean, it's no problem for him because the next day he can just zonk whenever he wants.
Yeah, he's 2.
But you can't, as parents, also
Dude,
just zonk all day. You have another child. And
I had my bags packed. I was ready to go home. Like in the next morning, cutting it one day short. It was horrific. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll come back. We got some tickets to give away for tomorrow's game. Orioles Padres at Petco Park. So your chance to win is coming up. And in season, Sammy. Going to talk to Sam Levitt at the bottom of the hour as we do each and every Monday. All coming up here with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. Going to give away some Padres tickets in just a couple of minutes. And in-season Sammy's going to join us. Had to be another tough road trip for Sammy. 1-4. Padres go on their 5-game road trip to Seattle and Arizona when you really needed to go 4-1.
Yeah.
They're now 6 games under 500. I mean, even getting to 500 now would be an accomplishment.
Oh my God.
If you could get back to 500 at the end of the season, you have to play some good baseball the rest of the way. And I can't imagine that 500 is going to be anywhere near close enough to make the postseason. That's why it feels so
despondent,
out of reach at this point.
Out of the reach.
Is it theoretically possible you could go on a run and still just reel off victory after victory? Of course, it is not mathematically impossible. We've seen other teams do it. We've seen teams with less talent than the San Diego Padres do it.
If we could sum up when we're done and we do the recap show, I just want to call it the run.
It's the run.
The run that never was. That's that's
the title of the 30 for 30.
That's the title of the weight of expectations.
0 days in 2023. The Matt Scraby podcast.
Yeah, 0 days in 2023. Yeah, exactly.
The run that never came.
The run
for the
that
2023 San Diego Padres.
The weight of expectations. Yeah, man.
This is so they've got a 10-game homestand here. Longest last homestand of the year with no days off. They're 3 games into 13 games in 13 days.
Well, it gives us something to talk about.
Michael Wacha is scheduled to come off the injured list and make his first start since July for the Padres, and just second start, I think, since late June or early July, tomorrow night in game 2 of the series against the Baltimore Orioles. And then Blake Snell on Wednesday. So Darvish, Wacha, Snell, 3 guys who you feel fairly confident in on the mound. But do you feel confident that even if the Padres do take a lead into a 6th or 7th inning, that they can hold on to that lead, that they won't get shut down by a pitcher and every pitcher they're facing has an ERA of at least, I think, 4.3 in the next 3 games. Doesn't mean that the Padres will do anything against those guys, though, on the mound. And that has been the issue this year for this team, that you can't be confident of anything with these San Diego Padres.
Nothing. There's not one aspect of the game that you can be confident in.
I can't be confident that they will lose either. They could win 12-1 tonight.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be surprising.
Right.
Won't be shocking at all if they did that. There's nothing you can be confident of about the San Diego Padres.
You can
this
be
season.
Confident in inconsistent.
Yes.
This week will be an inconsistent week.
Yes.
I'm confident in saying that. They'll win 2, lose 3. They'll
look really good when they win. They'll lose at least 1 or 2 agonizingly close, either extra innings or 1 run where probably should have won it. Have 1 game where they look lifeless, at least at the plate, and probably score 0 or 1 run against a pitcher they probably should have done better against. It's so easily predictable in its complete lack of predictability of what's going to happen for this team this year.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, honestly, it's funny. It wouldn't surprise me if they swept the Orioles for some stupid
just like
reason.
the Rangers.
Just like the Rangers. The Rays, beat the Rays.
It wouldn't be very Padres to have swept the 2 best teams in the American League this year, won their season series against the Braves, the best team in the National League, but not even come close to sniffing the playoffs.
Right.
Having an absolute case that if you got to the postseason, you might be the team that no other franchise wanted to face. The last team they'd want to see in the playoffs are the San Diego Padres. It's also the last team they're going to have to see in the playoffs because they won't be there. That would be completely unsurprising if they swept the Orioles.
And I wonder, I was getting some grief earlier about how, not grief necessarily, but hey, a guy said, I saw some of these signs back in May. And I said, well, yeah, I did too. I saw these signs too, but I'm not going to panic in May. And I'm really not going to panic. I'm not going to panic until September, right? That's when it's time to friggin' panic because it's over. You got a month left and you're done. I'm not going to panic in May because when there are holes, there's still time to fix those holes. Yeah, it sucks that you didn't stack wins early in the season. I was pissed off after the first game. Herman Marquez, carving this lineup up I was also drunk. But yes, obviously there are signs in May, but none of us should live and die with games in April and May. You just shouldn't. I mean, that's just bad for your health, even though we kind of do a little bit. But now we're dead on panic time. I mean, This is it.
Every team shows signs at some point of concern.
Oh, absolutely.
Dodgers went through a
Sure.
period where they weren't getting any starting pitching. And you can go, hey, I saw signs of this back in June that the Dodgers weren't going to be good. But you know what? They went and figured it out and fixed it and have played better. Some of these wild card contenders, I mean, the Reds looked horrible the first couple of months of the season. Then they played amazing baseball, and now they're back to playing pretty crummy again. Every team goes through periods where you say, oh, yeah, I saw signs of this.
I saw this coming.
But so many of them then change and figure it out. What has not happened for the Padres is that evolution.
Yeah.
Of changing and figuring it out. They've been unable to do it all season long.
They're really the team that's evolved the least, I think, this season. I mean, the Mets gave it a half a season, punted it all, got some prospects, ate a ton of salary, and said, we're done. We're going to retool. Okay. Padres decided to buy on the margins. Hasn't really done anything, middling record since the deadline. Nothing's really changed, though. It's not the new guy's fault. It's not G-Man Choi's fault that the Padres are playing exactly like they played before G-Man Choi got here. He's not helping. Garrett Cooper's not really helping. Scott Barlow's not really helping. Rich Hill certainly isn't helping. It's not their fault, though. It's not like this team had stacked a buttload of wins, and you got those guys, and now they're underperforming and we're not winning. It's just been the same. It's just been more of the same. And, you could have added Shohei Ohtani and 4 other players. Probably still would be the exact same. That's just the way that this has gone this year.
Yeah, it's baffling, and it's almost consistency.
Yes.
Of what we've seen.
They are very consistent.
As being inconsistent
Correct.
from game to game.
Massively, massively consistent.
All right, we do have with that being said, we do have a pair of tickets to give away for tomorrow's game.
What a ringing
against the
endorsement.
Orioles. Certainly, I mean, the opposite. I said it earlier. The Orioles have essentially been the opposite of the Padres. They have scored about the same number of runs as the Padres. They have given up about the same number of runs. They've scored more, but they've given up more. But they're the RD. I know you hate when I bring it up.
Say it.
It's almost exactly the same as the Padres. They're 28 games above 500 right now, 73 and 45. And the Padres are,
drown 'em out.
yeah. I mean, the Orioles have scored 35 more runs and they've given up 30 more runs than the Padres. Yet they've turned that into 73 wins and 45 losses, where the Padres have turned theirs into 56 wins.
We're not
and
getting to
62
73
losses.
wins. We won't hit 73 wins this year. Holy cow.
They're on pace for just about that right now, just a little bit better, but not a lot better than that right now. I think we can learn something this week from the Baltimore Orioles. What do they have that the Padres are missing? Because it's not more offense, it's not more pitching, it's not more defense, but it's more winning, and it's a ton more winning
a lot more
than the Padres have done. So watch and see what they do, and let's learn from this team. If you want to go, 833-288-0973. We got a pair of tickets. It's the start of a 10-game homestand. Tomorrow's game. Don't let summer end by securing your Padres tickets today at padres.com/tickets. We'll take the third caller, and then we'll come back with in-season Sammy, Sam Levitt. Don't think the champagne's going to be flowing where Sammy was going this year.
No, not this year.
His magic is being put to the test now. Get to that next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson Off. Congratulations to Scott. He called in and claimed the Padres tickets. Don't see any lack of interest for free tickets still at the end of the season. So glad to see people still enjoying going out to Petco Park, even if your expectation of victory is not what it was early in the season. Place remains packed, and it remains, best ballpark in America, and you still only have a few more opportunities to visit it before the end of the year. And I promise you, when the season is over and we don't have baseball for a few months, we will be sad it is gone, and we will be counting the days until we get it back. I mean, maybe we'll have like 4 or 5 days where we go, all right, we get a break. But then it'll be like, okay, when spring training, let's fire this up again. 0-0 sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah, it does. Clean slate and all that. And yeah, trust me, my brain's been in overdrive. I was already thinking about going out at spring training next year. And I'm like, do I want to pound these guys about what happened last year? Or do you not even mention it? I think you have to address it, right? You have to address it. And you certainly want to address it with the owner. You want to address it with the GM. You want to address it with the manager. But the players, when Xander Bogart sits down, say, what the hell happened?
Undoubtedly. I think down, especially if, we'll talk with Sam Levitt about this, especially if, as I suspect, the roster will look very similar.
Yeah.
So the question I think everybody's going to be answering or asking is,
going to change?
So what's going to be different this year, and how are you going to make it different? Because
what are you doing, in fact, today to make it
going to be hard to say? Well, just know that we're talented.
Right.
And,
you can't buy that anymore.
I mean, that's going to be a tough sell. You have to do better than that next year at spring training, even if there's a different manager. Because I'm certainly not going to give the new manager the benefit of the doubt. Well, you're not going to be an idiot like Bob Melvin was and completely screw this up. Why do you think you can do better than Bob Melvin?
Yeah, 100%.
The guy who's won manager of the year 3 times, as steady as anybody I've met in this game. What makes you think? That's my first question. If there's a new manager, what makes you think you can do any better than Bob Melvin with this team? Interesting. All right, we'll talk with Sam Levitt about all of this and more right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
It's a tough Monday morning for a couple of folks on our road south before SeaWorld Drive. This vehicle went off the roadway, struck a tree. Now tow truck is trying to get that up and out of the ice plant nearby. That's South 5 before SeaWorld Drive. And vehicle at the embankment over the right shoulder on South 805, right before the 163. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
You know who's probably not quite ready to look forward to spring training yet? The guy who was actually there for like 45 straight days.
Sammy spring training, baby.
Spring training.
Poor guy. Like, he's been there 3 weeks and he's walking around and he's losing his mind with Sammy spring training. He's like, I don't want to be reminded of that anymore. Amazing.
So we'll let you focus on this season still, Sam. Good morning and welcome.
I know. You know what? Spring training, Peoria, Arizona it doesn't sound too bad right now. I'll tell you, it's funny. I was having a conversation with somebody during the last homestand, and we were talking about when I got to spring training and the first really couple of weeks, every morning I would say, man, it's a beautiful day for baseball. I love it here. And then by like week 5, that same person came over to me and was like, are you okay? I mean, you're just walking around like a zombie. So, I mean, whatever happens the rest of the way here, I will be excited to resume my Sammy spring training days. But hopefully we have a lot to talk about and hopefully some interesting things to talk about between now and then.
Well, Sammy, one of the most interesting things that is happening with this ball club, for me at least, is this player that's on the roster that just is not used. He is not injured. As far as we know, I figure if he was, he'd be on the IL. Matthew Carpenter apparently still owns a batting gloves. I think some gloves were spotted over the weekend. Somebody had posted a picture. He still does have his gear. I don't understand this for the life of me, Sammy. Why in a tight?
That would make more sense if we found
he lost his gear.
He actually doesn't have baseball stuff.
He was going to play today. He has misplaced his glove and his bat.
It's taken him 3 weeks to get a new bat.
He's just not comfortable swinging any other bat.
Waiting on it.
Honestly, man,
backlog. The shipping department, the supply chain has been broken.
We are sitting here, Sammy, with a 26-man roster, of which you only use 25. And there has not been any pinch. There's been plenty of pinch hit opportunities. Hell, there's been plenty of spots for him to start. Honestly, like there have been right-handed pitchers where a veteran DH off the bench, like give him a start. We've started as Okar in spots against a righty. You know what I mean? Like there's been plenty of spots. I don't understand. What's going on? Do you have any insight as to what's happening?
I don't. It falls in line with another part of this season where there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of answers, right? I mean, we hear guys talk in the clubhouse, and they've said repeatedly, when they've been asked about the offensive struggles and the inconsistency of this team and all of it, that they wish they had the answers. And I kind of put this in the same category in a very different way. I mean, again, nothing against Matt Carpenter. He's had a wonderful career. Obviously, he's a veteran. I'm sure he brings a lot to the table on a day-to-day basis that a lot of us don't see. But, I mean, like you said, Woods, the facts are the facts. And he hasn't played in the game since July 24th. And for a team that is playing as critical of games as the Padres are playing right now, to essentially be playing with 25 guys on a 26-man roster, I don't really understand it either. And as it gets deeper and deeper, I mean, how could you put him in a meaningful situation, right? I mean, I think, I was reading this morning, somebody suggested like he would kind of need another spring training, right? He hasn't seen real game action or even spring training level game action in weeks. So to play basically a man down seems unwise to me. I don't understand it either. I mean, I don't know how you could come up with an argument for it other than he's due money and there's the option for next year, and they feel like the options at AAA or guys they could replace him on the active roster with don't bring the same amount of value. Even though he's not playing, again,
and I'm not arguing with you.
These are not reasons that really make sense. But I don't the thing too when you talk about the money part of it and the option part of it. So, is it when we get to spring training next year? Is it going to be the expectation that he's going to be
DH
on the team and on the roster, even though he wasn't used for this amount of time? I mean, it may go a month without him appearing in a game. So, again, I don't know. I don't have a better reason or idea than you guys do, and I haven't heard it. So, it's just a very odd situation.
It feels like a freaking. You know what it feels like? Just put it out. It feels like a standoff. It feels like a standoff between Bob Melvin and AJ Preller. And AJ's like, "Well, he's staying on the roster." And Bob's like, "Great, I'm not playing him." Not the first time we've seen this, by the way. Jorge Alfaro sat on his ass and watched Austin Nola on two shaky legs catch every inning, take every AB. It's not the first time we've seen this. Why was Jorge Alfaro on the playoff roster if you weren't going to use him? I don't even think they would have used him if Nola had broken both of his legs falling down the stairs. They would have put Will Myers back there. I'm not kidding.
Cronenworth, grab this.
And if we're doing some kind of standoff here between manager and GM, it's a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem. And I feel like that happens in baseball. Like, oh no, this is the guy that you fought for to get here. Oh, don't worry, I'm going to use him, and I'm going to use him good, or I'm not going to use him.
Woods, it's a good point. And so if that's not the case, then explain it to us.
Explain it.
Explain it to us.
Why are you going into the most critical run of the season, the most, with a guy that you're not going to play? And believe me, this isn't me in here campaigning for Carp to get more ABs. Give me somebody else. Give me another. Are we stocked on arms? We have all the arms we can have number wise.
I think you can't have any more
arms?
maximum number of arms. So.
Give me somebody.
Tim
Lopes to pinch run.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, this to me reeks of organizational failure. That's
dysfunction.
Dysfunction. That's the word I'm looking for. Dysfunction. This is dysfunctional.
And we may be completely wrong, but if we are, explain it to us.
Prove it.
Because you've created a situation where we all look and it's the inexplicable. It makes no sense to any of us, yet no one really explains. Now, I agree with you, Sam. he's under contract next year, and maybe they'd like to at least bring him to spring training, see if in the offseason he can turn things around. And if he has a hot spring, great. If not, then you DFA him and, all right, well, we tried, we failed, and we let him go then. But if you do it now, you can't even bring him back next season. So I can see why you try not to, but it's what's pointed out. There is an IL. I mean, it wouldn't be the first guy to go on the IL with a
tweaked back,
a phantom injury that no one can really diagnose. And he's still there in the clubhouse, and he's still providing leadership. You don't need a 26-man roster spot for that, though, if he's never going to play. Sammy, we're not mad at you. I don't want you to think that we're blaming you for this. We're just frustrated.
I know. I totally get it. I mean, playing essentially down a man and, for as important as these games are, whatever that roster spot could be used for, if it's like you guys said, like Tim Lopes to play a little infield and pinch run, it's a situation that is that's a little mystifying, no doubt about it.
Let's talk starting pitching. Michael Wacha is scheduled to come back tomorrow, but at some point, a fifth spot is going to come up again.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see an interesting decision. You could go with Rich Hill for a third time. Hasn't gone well the first two. You could try Nick Martinez, who went to the bullpen again yesterday and could bounce back to that spot starter, role that he's been in. Or you could try Pedro Avila, who has been maybe unexpectedly, but certainly unequivocally outstanding in what he's been able to do with the Padres so far.
Put me on Team Pedro Avila. I mean, this guy has done nothing but be really, really good in whatever role he's been given. He did it again on Saturday. I mean, he had the start in Colorado where he went 4 innings and 1 run given up. I mean, he's got a sub-1 ERA in 18+ innings, and the stuff looks really good. I mean, to me, they have to consider either using him in a starting role or using him in a role where he's going to pitch a little bit more often and with a lead. I mean, you look the last 2 times he's pitched, he's coming in to take on this long relief role when the team is down. I mean, let me look back at my scorebook. What were they down on Saturday? They were down 3 runs, and then there was the game before that where they were down 6-0, the first Rich Hill game. So, look, I understand the Padres traded for Hill. You gave up some assets as part of that trade, and clearly if you traded for him, there was a belief that, he could provide some value. I mean, the first 2 starts have not been very good as far as preventing runs and going deep. Again, with how critical these games are, I just feel like a lot of those things, no matter what you traded, no matter what you thought you were going to get, I mean, who gives you the best chance to win? And to me, again, at the very least, I feel like Pedro Avila has earned some type of role where he can pitch where the team has a lead, right? Like if that's a starting role, the next time that spot comes around, which I suppose now would be the Musgrove spot, or however they want to go about it, or if that's a role where he's just coming out of the bullpen, and giving you a couple of innings, he's been really good. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't been blown away by what we've seen from Rich Hill. I mean, you knew what you were getting. It's a 43-year-old lefty who doesn't rely on velocity and relies on, the craftiness and the different arm angles. And, he's talked about it. He has to be, really fine with those pitches and really perfect to be really effective. And I'll give Rich Hill this. I mean, he's been very self-critical after these games. He gets it. I mean, that's what you would expect from a guy that's been around as long as he has. But I'm Team Avila in the sense of, just giving him a role where, not that what he's done lately has not been valuable, but basically he's being asked to eat up innings in games where you're trailing. And for a guy that's been as effective as he's been, I just feel like maybe there's a better utilization of him, even though, look, you always need guys to eat up innings. But, I certainly, would not complain at all if the Padres decided to slot him in so where he can get a start and prove that what he's done here out of the bullpen can be done out of a starting role. He's been that effective. I mean, beyond effective. He's been dominant, really. I mean, he has a sub-1 ERA, over the course of these appearances. So, does that continue in a starting spot? I have no idea, but I think he's earned the opportunity to at least have the Padres give him a real hard look at somebody who could start, at the rest of this season, even maybe, and even going into next year. Find out what you have a little bit as well in what Avi is.
Talking to Sam Levitt. You will hear him on the pregame show this afternoon, 5:40, 6:40 first pitch against the Baltimore Orioles. And I think the Baltimore Orioles are fascinating. As I said earlier, they're the inverse of the Padres. They have made the absolute most out of what they've had this season, to the tune of 28 games above 500. I don't know how much research you've already done on this team, but I think it would be imperative that the Padres take a look at what the Baltimore Orioles have done and try to duplicate that. Like, what has turned that team into winners where this Padres team has not been able to pull out victories all season long?
Well, look, I think that I've done a lot of research already this morning. Look, it's a very, very different team in the sense of their youth, in the sense of their record, in the sense of hitting with runners in scoring position and all of it. I mean, I don't know if there's a path right now for this Padres team to follow the Orioles blueprint, because what the Orioles did, and, it's the same thing the Astros did, a number of years ago, is they got really, really, really bad for a long time and then built it all the way back up. And, these are now two examples, the Astros and the Orioles, that if you do the tear down right, it hurts, it hurts, but man, you come out of the other side with these players and these prospects who get to the major leagues and just flourish. And look, I think for them, it's been, about more than the Adley Rutschmans and the Gunnar Hendersons and the Jordan Westbergs. Like, you look at what Ryan Mountcastle has done, he is a name to watch in this series. He's batting .442 in his last 15 games at the 20-game on-base streak. He's been awesome for them. They've had guys like Santander, who's been colder lately, but has made a big impact on this team. When I look at this series, I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's easy to look at the starter ERA numbers, but I wouldn't get too worked up about that, because you even look at a guy tonight like Grayson Rodriguez. He really struggled in his early major league career this season. He's a rookie. He throws really hard, really highly touted, former 11th overall pick. But since coming back from the minor leagues, when they sent him down, he's got a 3.45 ERA in 5 starts. So the overall numbers are a little bit misleading. He's been better since he's come back. And look, this is a team, I don't know how much you saw of the 2 games they played in Seattle over the weekend. They won both in extra innings. Like, guys, they're just a team that figures out ways to win and hits with runners in scoring position and makes big-time plays. Cedric Mullins made this unbelievable catch yesterday, and then hits a 2-run home run in extra innings to win it. Like, they've been a really, really special feeling team, and they've got the second best record in baseball. So it's a really tough test.
I agree, Sam,
really,
but I don't think you need to tear it down to figure out how to win. Veteran players like the Padres have should be able to figure out how to win games. Probably better than a bunch of rookies who don't know any better in the big leagues. You learn how to win. The Padres should have done that by now. We're out of time, Sam. Really appreciate it. We'll hear you on the pregame show later today.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you,
Sam Levitt on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. And consider this. The Padres are actually, in a way, lucky, because there may be no hotter name in the minor leagues right now than the San Diego Padres. The new midseason rankings have come out, and the Padres, despite putting so much talent into the major league squad and money and trading away prospects, I saw that they're as high as 4 as an organization again in some of the minor league rankings, with 4 top 100 players, 2 guys in the top 10. It's not about building up the minor leagues, though. We know A.J. Preller can put together, he can draft, he can sign, he can put those guys down there. You have to develop those players.
Yeah, they got to make an
impact
leagues. On this roster.
You have to be able to develop them and get them to the major leagues. The Padres will once again have a top-ranked minor league system in probably the next year, but it won't matter if you can't bring them to the big leagues and make them give impact on your major league roster.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, a lot of these guys are here to be traded.
Trade away for who?
For who?
You've already you've already filled every hole you've wanted with every trade you've made.
We're going to need some starters next year, starting pitching. So
possibly.
Sure they're
All right, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Until then, Have a great rest of your Monday. For Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Talk to you at 6 a.m. tomorrow on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.